The day has finally arrived. Our wait is over, and so it is for the drivers. On the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil, the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series opener is less than half an hour away from the green flag. The streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil, the third largest city in the world. They've constructed a 2.6-mile, 11-turn circuit for today's season opener. A slippery section of the track, however, yesterday postponed qualifying until today. The section included the area at the start-finish line, and drivers just couldn't get any grip coming off turn number 11. Here's Elio Castroneves fighting it in fifth gear. Ryan Briscoe was one of several drivers to spin and brush the wall on the front stretch. So Brian Barnhart, the president of competition for the IZOD IndyCar Series, brought in some heavy equipment overnight and ground down a section of the track to give it more grip for the drivers. Jan, the drivers had a short practice period this morning before qualifying.
And Bob, of course, those changes on that straightaway transformed the racetrack. They got racy right away. Rafael Matos got a bit of the chrome horn there from Marco Andretti. No harm, no foul. It was just practice, but people knew this was the day they had to get it done. In qualifying, unfortunate for Mike Conway. He already had a time that would have advanced him to the next group, but he got into the tires, didn't really damage the car, but he lost his fastest speed. Getting up to the final group in the top six, Ryan Hunter-Reay making his debut for Andretti Autosport, and a brand new debut for a new team. Alex Tagliani qualified on the front row. Fantastic results, and maybe not surprising, the master of street and road course qualifying, Dario Franchitti, put it on the top of the podium.
So for the first time ever, the IZOD IndyCar Series qualify and will race in the same day. The 24-car field led by defending series champion Dario Franchitti. The top six represented by 5 different teams. Only Andretti Autosport has 2, and 6 different countries. One home country driver, Tony Kanaan. Jack is with the guy who has picked up right where he left off last year. Jack?
Well, Bob, the winner of the first Peak Pole Award for the season is Dario Franchitti. And Dario, let's go back 24 hours ago. You were pretty outspoken about the condition of this racetrack. Now, how about it?
Absolutely, but a lot of work went into it last night from the organizers, and got to take my hat off to Brian Barnhart, because he had some pretty big attachments to cancel qualifying, make the call that he did to cancel qualifying, and they spent all night fixing that thing. I think the 2-seater was out at 5 o'clock this morning fixing the track. So I really think I've got to take my hat off to them. But for us, the target car was struggling yesterday, and Dixie was just flying. So we sat and we worked it out, and everybody.
You're not telling me you stole his setup for this qualifying, did you?
No, actually I didn't. We went completely the other way, because what Scott likes I generally don't like. So we went the other way, and it really worked. Although I did steal his technique at turn 10 there, so I've got to thank him for that.
Real quickly, what will the configuration of the car for the race be comparable to what just won you the pole?
It's a good question. We haven't got much time to fix it, but obviously the big passing spots at the end of these 2 very long straights, so we have to decide whether we're going to trim out or not. We're not sure yet.
Bob, that's one of the facts of the day. When you qualify on the same day that you have to run the race, how many adjustments can you make?
Exactly, Jack. So will 2010 be a repeat for the outstanding season that Target Chip Ganassi team had last year with Franchitti and Scott Dixon?
Dario Franchitti has won the 35th running of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
His 11th win on an oval.
Dario Franchitti will drive into victory lane at Iowa Speedway. Scott Dixon out in front. They call him the Iceman, and once again, he is in victory lane. Dario Franchitti started on pole, and Dario Franchitti will go to Edmonton with the IndyCar Series Championship lead.
Scott Dixon, his 5th win of the season.
Dario Franchitti is back, and he is a champion in 2009.
5 consecutive wins for both of the drivers last year, with a big win, of course, for Dario at the closer at Homestead Miami Speedway that gave him his second IZOD IndyCar Series championship. The Brazilian crowd has turned out in huge numbers for this event, the first on South American soil for the IZOD IndyCar Series, hoping that one of their own will take the checkered flag first today.
Sao Paulo, Brazil. Coming back in the streets of Sao Paulo, the place that I actually start racing, and having my family, my friends there, giving the opportunity for the Brazilian fans to see what the American fans are able to see all the time.
Over there, the Americans won't get any sympathy. I mean, they're going to be all for the Brazilians, and maybe they see a Brazilian win.
My family will be there, everybody's going to be there, so a lot of expectation. It means a lot. I raced in Sao Paulo, basically my whole childhood. Coming back now will bring back a lot of my memories, for sure.
I can't wait. I just can't wait to be on the race, our first of a season in Brazil.
Is the annual festival in Brazil commemorating the 40 days of Lent leading up to Easter. It's similar to Mardi Gras here in the U.S. In Sao Paulo, the event takes place at the Sambadrome beginning in February and is the most famous holiday in Brazil, accounting for 70% of its annual tourism. It just so happens that the Sambadrome area is the section of racetrack at the start-finish line. There'll be no parades today, but hopefully a lot of excitement for the fans. Will Power will start fifth today in the Verizon Team Penske entry. His 2009 season included a big up, but also a big down.
Will Power has been the man to beat this weekend, and Team Penske has been the team to beat. The yellow car running all by his lonesome in only his fifth start, driving for Penske, a dominating performance, and he has won the Rexall Edmonton Indy.
Nelson Philippe got off track at turn number 4. Will Power comes over the hill and makes heavy contact with the right side of Nelson Philippe's car. Will Power has compression fractures at L2 and L4 in his back and a concussion. Both are expected to fully recuperate.
Well, Will Power is... Well, Bob, the winner of the first Peak Pole Award for the season is... Well, Will Power is back, and back with a vengeance, with a full season on his calendar with the Penske Verizon team. But Will, simply to get out and qualify today was quite a challenge for you. What happened?
Yeah, you know, full credit to the guys to get that car pulled apart, the whole gearbox, change something and get it back out in a matter of probably 40 minutes. So we were lucky to get out there, really happy to get to the Fast Six, and I think it's tough if you have to do the Fast Six and then go race. I think the other guys who didn't make it have a little bit of an advantage.
Let's talk for a moment about the way you see this race unfold. The fact that, you know, you're qualifying and practicing, and basically this is the first time everybody's got to see the track. You kind of wash out yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, this is unique the way that's been done today. You know, I think the race today is going to be really good. It's going to be tough because I think there's going to be a lot of passing. Very tiring because it's hot, and you'll probably see a lot of mistakes from people. So,
well, what is it going to take for Will Power to win?
Man, I think it's just going to be a good strategy, no mistakes, and have everything go right on the day.
Good luck, Will.
Thank you very much.
Will accounted for one of the wins for the Roger Penske team last year. Ryan Briscoe finished third in points, Elio fourth, even though he missed the first race of the year. Well, there is no more Andretti Green racing in the IZOD IndyCar Series. It's Andretti Autosport. It will be a 4-car team, but hopefully with better results from last year.
Rio de Janeiro.
The country of Brazil will be hosting the 2016 Olympic Games. That announcement made last October. adding to a busy slate of sporting events, including the 2014 World Cup of Soccer and, of course, today's IZOD IndyCar Series event in the streets of Sao Paulo. 24 drivers waiting for the start of today's race just a few minutes away. 2009 was not a stellar season for Andretti Green Racing. No wins for the team last year, but 3 of the 4 drivers did finish in the top 10, and the 4th was 11th in points. But now Michael Andretti is sole owner of the team and trying to turn things around. Moments ago, Jack caught up with one of the team's drivers.
And Bob, one of the leaders of Andretti Autosports for the GoDaddy.com specialist, Danica Patrick. And Danica has already had a full season of preparation for IndyCar competition in stock cars. And it makes me wonder, Danica, just how difficult it is to transition between the two.
I think it's been fine. You know, I think that the more driving, the better. And, you know, I've kind of been in race mode for a couple of months now. So they're definitely different cars, but they're different enough to be able to separate the two. And so I think it's not too bad.
Let's talk a little bit about what's necessary in terms of race mode here for Brazil, because let's face it, things are entirely different than what we had expected.
Yeah, well, I think there's been a lot of things that have been much better than I expected here. There was obviously the situation with the front straight not being able to get flat, which was pretty sad, but they fixed it, so that's okay. You know, I think at the end of the day, they've done a pretty good job. This is the first event here, first event I've been to anyway, and you know, everything's been pretty smooth.
Thanks, Danica. Bob?
Danica, one of 4 women in today's race. 2 others, Anna Beatrice and Simona Di Silvestro, are making their series debut. Milka Duno is with Dale Coyne Racing this year. Anna is a graduate of the Firestone Indy Light Series, and she's the only Brazilian among the 4 hoping for a good finish before her home country fans.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Canan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
What? Giant peanut with sea salt. Dude, you're freaking me out.
Now, try Planters almonds with sea salt and olive oil.
There's only one rule you need to know about. The only thing you can count on at any given moment is you. It's you versus them. You versus no. It's you versus second place. Clock is ticking. Let's see what you got.
One of the greatest drivers of all time, Emerson Fittipaldi, started the trend of Brazilian drivers in U.S. open wheel racing, but several others, including Helio Castroneves and Tony Kanaan, have followed and made a big impact on the sport. Helio has accomplished many things in his career. We thought it might be fun to see how well Helio could draw the layout of the track that he'll be racing on today. Blindfolded.
There we go in Sao Paulo. Turn a little first chicane and then a right corner. Then you go a little bit and then left again. And then right. I think I made a little bit straight too much, but it's okay. I don't know. Oh, straight away. And then you brake. Okay, brake really hard, turn right. And then you turn right again. Somehow I feel that the track's still there, but I don't know. So you're going through section 6, 7, 8, and then I think I made a mistake already. Long straightaway until we get like a huge braking point. Ding, ding, ding. And then we go back again, and that's it. I think whoa! As you can see, drivers cannot drive, at least me, with my eyes shut. So hopefully my eyes will be big and ready to run.
Hope he drives better than he draws. Elio warmly greeted moments ago when he was introduced to the Brazilian fans. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sao Paulo Indy 300 from the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. The 2010 IndyCar Series begins with 4 drivers making their debut. 7 others have moved to a new team since last year. Among them, Hideki Muto, who was with Andretti Green Racing last year, moving to Newman Haas Lanigan, and Justin Wilson, who got the victory for Dale Coyne last year. He has moved to the Dreyer and Reinbold Racing team. Simona Di Silvestro driving for HVM. Alex Tagliani, we've already talked about him. He had a great qualifying effort for that brand new team. The command to get this event started is just a few moments away. Stay with us for the start of the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series on Versus. The 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series begins to the samba of South American Sao Paulo, Brazil.
The best of the best. The best open-wheel racers in the world.
For 7 drivers, it's the battle of Brazilian turf.
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Here I come.
But for others, it's a hunger for more hardware.
Dario Franchitti is back, and he is a champion in 2009.
A thirst for a season championship salvation for some.
Get the cameras out for a photo finish. Briscoe got him.
A homecoming for the busiest driver.
Danica Patrick wins at Twin Ring Motegi.
And a quest for a series title from a 3-time 500 champ.
Helio Castro Neves.
You guys don't understand.
The streets of Sao Paulo meet the speeds of sheer nerves.
You've got to be fearless. You've got to be determined. You've got to be driven.
It's the first American open-wheel race in the country in a mere decade. The most competitive IndyCar Series yet.
It's the season opener.
Today on Versus.
Well, the winter went relatively quick, but I'm ready for some racing. How about you? The Sao Paulo Indy 300 is about to get the command to start engines. We have had sunshine all day yesterday and up until about an hour ago. But now some sprinkles are being felt in sections of the racetrack, all adding to the drama of what could be a very exciting afternoon of racing. It's a very, very competitive racetrack, 2.6 miles in length, 11 turns, but a lot of passing zones that we will be looking quite closely for today. The Brazilian fans are here in huge numbers. And Jan Robbie, hi, welcome.
Well, the reason that they wouldn't go immediately to the command is that race control will have to decide, is there enough rain to mandate rain tires? So they typically will hold to find out if sprinkles turn into rain. If it gets completely wet, they won't want people to take a risk to start on slicks. They make them start on wets.
And to this point, we've heard these drivers, they love this racetrack, but the one thing they've been searching for is grip. How I get grip here. They got to have downforce in the car to give them that grip. Now you throw a little bit of rain at it, it just makes it slicker than get out.
There you see the field assembled 2x2, 24 cars strong, with the pole being held by Dario Franchitti, Alex Tagliani in the outside of row number 1. And there's Takuma Sato, a newcomer to the IZOD IndyCar Series this year.
And you saw a little bit of the sprinkles just beating up on that nice paint job there. And when it's just raining just a little bit like this, that it just kind of glosses stuff over, and I think for the driver, that's the toughest scenario you got. Tire designation?
These are the drivers that chose black. Everyone else chose red to review. Red is the alternate, softer of the Firestone Firehawks. The blacks are the harder, not harder, more durable is the better term. And you would do that typically on a hot, sunny day, but now you're thinking, hang on a minute, I'm not sure I want to be on primaries. But by this particular shot here, I don't think the tire designation will play. If there is rain, they cancel that. You can run whatever tires you want.
Yeah, and we just talked about how you're always looking for grip on this racetrack. The red tire, the alternate, is just a little softer compound. It's the same construction. It's a little softer compound, hopefully giving you a little bit more grip, therefore translating into a little faster laps than the primary black tires, like you say, are just a little bit hotter.
Pace car checks the racetrack before we get the command to start engines. How much of a difference is there between the red and the black?
Here, there's only one step. At some of the street circuits, this is the number of sets that you have to use. And in the race, in the dry, that final line there that you must use a primary and alternate, as soon as it's deemed that it's a wet race, then that all goes out the window.
And one more caveat to that with the black and the reds is you have to run a set of black and reds, like you said, but you have to do 2 green laps. So you can't just come in and satisfy it under yellow. It has to be completed with 2 green laps. That is going to change.
Jack Arute is our man on pit lane with an update. Jack?
Yeah, guys, let me show you. We are, in fact, the only location that has pit lane radar. And this radar here, we've been working with it, but you can see right down in this area here, there is a big red thunder cell. And that's the issue that we're dealing with. It is moved through, and in fact, the cloud cover looks much better. And I think that's the issue that everybody's dealing with in race control. It's basically going to be a dry race. We just had to avoid this, which we just now have. And in fact, the precipitation is subsided. It's almost, in fact, ended.
Well, that is very good news. Let's hope we can get it dry. But it does indeed throw another question mark into this whole scenario here.
Well, the whole idea that these guys have been out, it's been dry all day, and put grip and rubber on the pavement. Now you just put a little bit of sprinkle on that. That changes that surface to be an unknown when they take the green flag.
7 drivers in today's field are from Brazil. Rafa Matos, Helio Castroneves, Canan Mira, Beatrice Moraes, and Mario Romancini, a newcomer to the IZOD IndyCar Series, moving over from the Firestone Indy Lights. So 7 Brazilians, and the rest of the field hoping to outdo all of those hometown drivers.
Wasn't that great to see sunshine on that? And just at the end of Jack's report, and talked about how it had stopped raining, and then see the sunshine on that Zambadrome straightaway. I mean, that I just would love to see this start dry. If it happens to something in the course of the race to have some showers, fine, but it's pretty hairy to try and start one of these races just with sprinkles.
And especially for all the effort, everybody going down to Brills, doing lap time, getting set up for it. You want to see a dry start, absolutely.
The fans are here regardless of what kind of weather we have, and they are excited about this season opener for the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series. Dario Franchitti will be on the pole for his 12th time in the IZOD IndyCar Series. And of course, as I said, he is the defending series champion. We're waiting for the pace car to complete its lap, and depending upon what they say when it comes back to the front stretch, we may or may not get the command to start engines.
And it was no doubt a good scene to see everybody taking the ponchos off when we entered the grandstands there. And sure enough, there is the pace car rolling to position.
Okay, well, we look good, so let's get this show on the road. Down for the command.
Pilotos, liguem seus motores.
Of course, the command given in Portuguese, but he did say, driver, start your engines. So.
Bilingual.
Yes.
But the drivers, I mean, I know Robbie and I, it's because we've been in this position that you know there's sprinkles, you don't know what's going to happen. When you're the driver in the seat and you don't know whether it's wet or dry, to know you're going to at least get the green on a mostly dry circuit, you're like, whew.
And in the 2 pace laps here, they'll do a good job of really looking at the circuit and getting it dry.
Take a little bit closer look at this race course.
We talked about it being the largest city in South America, and right in the middle, here is the track layout. 2.6 miles, to over 2 miles of it have been repaved. Right off the start, you're going to see a rhythm section down to first gear, that 1, 2, 3, 4, a nice long straightaway into another tight combination of corners, especially here. 7, 8, 9, then let her rip. 0.9 of a mile, the longest straightaway ever on an IndyCar circuit. And Robbie, really coming into turn 11 and turn 5, that's going to be hair-raising.
And we have heard from these drivers, they love this circuit because of these long straightaways that create good passing zones. The one thing about it, it's very bumpy, and you can see the cars move around. And anytime you get offline, you find new bumps that can really make it exciting. And also when you get outline, you don't have as much grip, and it can create all kinds of instances. This we saw a little bit earlier in the day. But the key big passing and braking zone is after that almost a mile-long straightaway, Jan, that you talked about.
Top trap speed in that area?
180 miles an hour. And Robbie, this is where you get it done.
And that is a great braking area just to pass somebody, and then you get into the concrete section where we got a ton of grip now.
And we are live now. The cars warm up their tires, get a feel for the racetrack as we get set for the green flag. Well, the first Peak Pole Award for 2010 goes to Dario Franchitti. He had the most poles last year. In fact, it wasn't just on street or road courses. He had poles also on ovals. Ryan Briscoe had 4 last year. Rahal, Castroneves, and others had 2. Here they are going down that long straightaway. And we take a look at the lineup. Tagliani and Franchitti on the front row. Second row, Justin Wilson and Ryan Hunter-Reay, a couple of drivers who have switched teams for this year. Back in row number 3, it's Will Power. The third car in the Penske stable full season, Tony Kanaan, starts in the 6th position. In row 4, Ryan Briscoe, along with Scott Dixon, 2 of the 3 drivers who battled for the championship in Homestead Miami Speedway last fall. Castroneves and Sato in the 5th row. Back in row number 6, it's Simona Di Silvestro. She's had a great weekend. And Rafa Matos, one of the Brazilian drivers. 7th row, there's Danica Patrick and Hideki Muto, who moves to Newman Haas Lanigan Racing. In the 8th row, Alex Lloyd, driving for Dale Coyne in the Boy Scouts of America car, and Vitor Mira for A.J. Foyt. The 9th row, E.J. Vizo for Dan Weldon will start outside of that row. Conway and Romancini in the 10th row, and back in row number 11, it's Andretti and Anna Beatrice. Back in the 12th row, the final row, Mario Moraes and Milka Duno. So let's find out what the strategy is going to be as we once again go down to Jackaroo.
Like any road course, guys, it's all about track position. There's going to be 3 pit stops during the course of this event, but when to pit is going to be the key to determine whether you win or lose. There are 3 times that you pit. There are 3 kinds of pit stops. When you want to, when you have to, and when you should. The magic number is when should you pit. I think because there have been so many full course yellows and the way this racetrack is laid out, you're not going to need to pit under green. What you're going to want to do is you want to put yourself in a position where you are the first to pit in the final pit stop so you can utilize that track position. I'll give you one sneak guy that you ought to take a look at and watch all day. A brand new team, Alex Tagliani. Rob Edwards is calling the shots for that team, and he is loaded for bear. Guys, wouldn't surprise me if he found his way to IZOD Victory Lane.
Yeah, what a great debut for that team and Alex Tagliani. A great start.
And the cars now begin to line up side by side. We have 6 onboard cameras that will complement our coverage here this afternoon. There's Dan Weldon in the National Guard car, starting in the 9th row.
No moisture, isn't that great to see?
Yeah. Here's Helio Castroneves. He'll be starting in the 5th row, 9th position. Tony Kanaan will carry an onboard camera. He starts from row number 3.
And we're getting a really good shot at that long back straightaway here as you go to turn 11. It goes on and on.
Here's Ryan Hunter-Reay for Andretti Autosport, starting in the 2nd row. And a strong field of cars. We wish the drivers bonne sortie, good luck as the Apex green flag waves and the IZOD IndyCar Series begins the 2010 campaign. Down into the first chicane, Dario Franchitti will have the advantage as they go there in a mess here in the back.
Dixon gets spun around.
Oh, one in the air.
Wow.
That's Mario Moraes in the air.
And he's over Marco Andretti.
Wow.
Well, we knew they were funneling down into a first gear left-right complex, but boy, did it shake it up.
Briscoe's wing just flew off.
Yeah, and we're seeing more debris scattered throughout the racetrack.
And look at everybody trying to dodge all the little carbon bits that come off that wing.
Well, not a very good start for the series. Marco Andretti is the car that is under the 32 car of Mario Moraes. As the field comes through turn number 6 now.
It looked to me like one of the KV cars, Sato, was one of the first to make contact with a car ahead. Now, it was a bit of a freight train effect, but certainly Mario Moraes and Marco Andretti, that came from way in the back.
Yeah, so that happened under braking.
The first look, the first few rows get through fine, and then just look to the left of the screen, I believe, watch the KV car. There it is, Sato. Sure enough, just came in, and that started the mid-pack pileup, but then later, kind of the chain reaction, that is Moraes catching wheels with Marco Andretti and going right over.
And it looked like Marco was just trying to get out of the incident as well as Moraes going by. And it looked like, yeah, there's
spectacular footage.
Yeah, so Moraes lost it on the brakes going in.
And I think that's the same thing that set off Sato. When you pointed out Sato there, he was hard under the brakes, and the rear just came around. Watch that. There he is with the orange nose under braking. So he just has a little bit of rear bias, and that spun the car out.
And again, in too quick for the freight train, that is. That's like being on the highway and something happens when you have 2 lanes going to one. Everybody checks up, and that happened at the back.
And that's Marco saw it all happening, but Moraes was back behind him and just came in with some speed. It was like, oh, I can't slow it down.
Castronetta, that was Sato coming in.
Oh, and Elio had contact.
No place to go.
Dixon, yeah.
But Moraes, as he came in and joined that, like you say, Marco saw what was going on, probably was slowing up because he noticed it. Moraes was further back, didn't really see it, came in with some more speed, and as he was trying to get all over the brakes to slow down, you know, just went over the top in a pretty spectacular fashion of Marco Andretti.
Now, that section of the track that has been ground overnight has some debris that kicks up, and Jack Arute. Jack, watch the situation down there.
Fellas, let me update you. Marco Andretti has radioed to his crew that he is okay, but the severity of that accident knocked part of the radio communications out. He cannot hear his team, but who cares? We just wanted to hear from Marco.
Yeah, exactly. There's the 5 car of Takuma Sato, and here is Moraes and Andretti. Wow, what a way to start the season. The Sao Paulo Indy 300, and we're non-stop on Versus.
For a domain name at GoDaddy.com, a girl talks to me. A girl, watch, SmokingHotDreamGirl.com.
That's Danica Patrick.
So, do you little maniacs want another domain name?
Yes, please. How about
SmokingHotDance.com?
See more now at GoDaddy.com.
My boyfriend has one.
My girlfriend, my older sister.
She has 2 kids.
My college roommate who lives up north.
My mom. My mom. My neighbors.
Our neighbors.
My daughter.
My daughter.
We were in the same class in elementary school. My boyfriend.
My parents.
Our parents.
My lovely wife.
And my husband has one.
Yeah, as well as a fellow I work with.
My girlfriend, she moved out east.
I'm a city girl.
Everybody knows somebody who loves a Honda. Who do you know?
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected Tony Kanaan. Select Select race transport. Mission finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
Have you seen what's happening out there? Have you even bothered to look?
They need to be reminded of the order of things. One day, somebody's going to have to make a stand. Turn them on each other.
Clash of the Titans, in theaters April 2nd.
Still under caution at Sao Paulo, Brazil, because of a crash at the first chicane. And these 5 drivers have been involved, including Helio Castroneves and Scott Dixon. Andretti, Sato, and Marias also. And, of course, the big pileup resulted when Marias went over the car of Marco Andretti. So it's going to be a while before we can get the track cleaned and under green. Let's take a look at what happened here.
If you could stop it here, I want to just highlight the car I think you really need to keep an eye on, and that's Sato. In the orange nose, let that roll, and you'll see that he was the first car that couldn't get it stopped and made contact. That's where the first happened. Then if we stop it here, we have an opportunity then to check out the second car. You really got to keep an eye on the black car of Marias. He also cannot stop and get to turn sideways. He didn't try to hit Marco. He just couldn't stop. Turn the car sideways and right up on top, and boy, the safety of those cars, at least from what we've heard, that Marco's okay. That's fantastic.
Helio Castroneves in the pits. He had a damaged front wing. He's been refueled and is out there once again. Here's his onboard as we take a look what happened.
Look at all the dust from the concrete and the grinding they did there. Now, look at that. That's Sato on the right. So Sato was on the right side of him, got sideways, and he just ran over his nose. Really had nowhere to go.
Dario and Alex Tagliani and a few others were ahead of the wreck, but boy, it sure has reduced the number of cars we have in the race. And Marco Andretti is climbing out of the race car, maybe a little bit shaken up, but he appears to be in pretty good condition. Can you imagine having the car, however, land right on top of you?
That's Dr. Mike Ollinger with his hand on him. He is the doctor that travels to all the races. They have the same, the Homacho safety team travels as well as the doctor. So those are familiar faces for Marco.
Good to see him walking to the ambulance. So under yellow because of an accident on the very first lap to begin the Sao Paulo Indy 300.
Sao Paulo Indy 300 on Versus is brought to you by Apex Brazil. To learn how Brazilian goods and services can work for you, log on to experienceourenergy.com. And by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
Back in Sao Paulo, Brazil, there's the number 19 car of Alex Lloyd. We are under caution. Really went green for only a short period of time when we had a crash in the very first corner of the first lap. We have seen several cars come in for a pit stop during this caution. Helio Castroneves, Will Power, and Ryan Briscoe among them.
Yeah, and Power actually got hit right in the right rear at that incident. Just kind of lifted him. He went on. In another car, we don't see what happened to him, but Justin Wilson, he cycled through the pits. We thought he got through there cleanly, so I don't know what happened to him.
The entrance to the pit area here is just beyond where we had the crash. Just off of corner number 4, you turn hard to the right and enter pit lane. And it's a long pit road. You actually exit at the apex of turn number 6. So there's a big area of racetrack that is included in pit lane. Jack, we saw several cars come in during this yellow.
And you know what, guys? It makes a lot of sense to do so. First of all, if you're Helio Castroneves, you know, you want to come in, you want to have your car checked over. But he also came in too early. Tim Cindric apologized to him on the radio. But some of the others, like the 9 car of Scott Dixon, you want to come in, they topped off their fuel. Now, that may seem inconsequential because we've been running under caution since the drop of the green flag into turns 1 and 2. But it will allow these guys to go a little further than some of the people that have elected to stay out. They were already involved in the accident, so Jan Bikus, Robbie Buell, you know, it makes sense. Pit now, take on some more ethanol, and see what happens with some more full course cautions.
Jack, I do think that obviously, as you talked about, the windows get larger and larger the more yellow you have. But I think anytime, as you pointed out, that you have contact, Robbie, you don't ever want to take a risk on a tire being cut. If you've been bumped or you've run over debris, you just got to pit, because if you have a puncture under green conditions as opposed to making a yellow pit stop, that's a pretty good gamble.
Well, that's the difference between losing a lap and fixing your problem. Yeah. That's that simple.
It would appear that Sato, Andretti, and Marias are the only ones that are going to be out of competition. The others have been in to correct the damage caused by this accident in turn number 1 at the Sao Paulo Indy 300 on Versus. Next Sunday, the UFC arrives on Versus with a stacked card. Brandon the Truth Vera and John Bones Jones collide in a dynamic light heavyweight battle. And it's a clash of Brazilian heavyweights as Junior Dos Santos takes on Gabriel Gonzalez. The UFC live next Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern, only on Versus. Well, some excitement in the first corner of our race here in Brazil. The big contact was between Marias and Andretti. Not the first time that these two cars have had a meeting on the racetrack. This is Indy last year, lap 1.
And if you remember, look at that. Marco was not very complimentary of Mario coming over on him. And we may see more of that this year. Right now, we're starting the year in 2010. This is not a good way to get the love affair off with.
At the very back.
Watch him right now. There's a black car. He gets sideways and up and over. Put your head down, Marco.
Marco is okay. We saw him get out of his car. Jack, you have more from the pits.
Well, don't be concerned if that bad blood continues. Mario Marias is the first one, as you saw, out of his car. Was invited to come down here and tell us his version of what happened. He said, very hotly, I respectfully declined. Let me see if I can calm down, and then maybe we might come back. Think we might be able to get Marco Andretti as soon as he is checked out and released. But it's fairly obvious when you talk to both teams that they, too, remember what you just showed. And that, of course, is what happened in Indianapolis.
And, Jack, I think for Mario Marias, what he's going to be upset about, he's going to be upset at himself. He knows that he was at the back. He came in. He overcooked it. That certainly, no way could you say that was Marco Andretti's fault. Now, there was some difference of opinion at Indy. They were running side by side. Who gave each other room? And, of course, they had lots of colorful things to say about each other. This one, Mario Marias, he's in his home country, and he overcooked it. So he's going to be upset at himself.
Well, hopefully we'll get that soundbite from him and see what he says.
So 6 laps have been completed, and none of them really under green. Marco has been checked at the care center and released. That is great news. Boy, for a scary-looking accident, it's nice to know that he is not injured at all and has been cleared to drive. But the car will not be in drivable condition, at least for this race.
The one thing that hopefully will unfold here is with these long straightaways, sure, we really haven't had our full lap of green flag racing yet, but guys that have shuffled to the back and have come in and topped off their fuel tanks, part of what really is allowing them to do that at a lot of street courses, hey, it's really tough to pass. But the opportunity that is presented here with these long straightaways, these 2 long straightaways, guys maybe feel, hey, if I do have a faster car, I can get my way back to the front.
The Homacho safety team slowly going down. That was the same area we saw a wing fly off. I believe that was from Briscoe. So they want to be sure there's no carbon fiber laying around on the racetrack, because that could cut a tire, and that could definitely ruin your day.
Before Indy this year, we race on only one oval, so a lot of street, road, and circuit racing.
So Briscoe,
there you can see that Briscoe made another pit stop.
But he didn't actually stop, though.
There is the exit to the pits off of corner number 6, and you have to keep all 4 wheels under that yellow line there on the left of your screen.
He'll be told by race control that he has to go back to where he was. That was kind of a clever idea. Let's go through the pits and pick up quite a few spots, but they'll say no.
Yeah, because he actually didn't go into his pit box for any service there. He was just trying to drive through pit lane and grab some spots.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah. Didn't get away with it.
Well, he hasn't actually physically been moved back yet, but we anticipate that'll happen.
A for effort.
Yep.
Or maybe more. We'll see.
More on the schedule before the Indianapolis 500. The Indy Grand Prix of Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park will be on April 11th at 3 o'clock. That is a natural terrain road course. And then, of course, the Grand Prix of Long Beach on the streets of Long Beach at 3:30 on April the 18th. The next race in the series will be on ABC. That is in St. Petersburg. And then after Long Beach, they will race on the oval at Kansas before going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the month of May.
Had a nice shot while you're doing that, Bob, of he just slots into position, Ryan Briscoe. So he's picking up the spot where he's supposed to be. It did look like they were going to do something on the car and change their mind. I don't think they were trying to pull a fast one there, but you never know.
Come on, Jan, come on.
All right, one more lap and we will go green. And hopefully a much safer and more entertaining start than that one.
Yeah. But I mean, what's tough here, this is going down into turn 1, right where that incident was. This is the slowest corner on the track, down to first gear, and you got all the anxiety, excitement of the beginning of the year, and that's what can happen.
Jack, we're going to be going green here before long.
Yeah, that little move by Team Penske did not go unnoticed up and down pit road. You should have heard the radio traffic to all the drivers, led by Mike Hull to Scott Dixon, saying, hey, listen, they just figured out a way to pick up spots. Everybody calm down, and here in Brazil, we like to do it a little slow and easy.
And that's a funny comment because I talked to Mike Hull before the season, and I said, what do you do to always improve yourself? You guys are the one that's everybody's shooting for with your dominance. He said, my job is to manage the frustration. So just keep everybody calm, keep them on focus.
Sometimes that ain't easy.
No, not in this sport, not. Everybody out here wants to win. You want to be the fastest guy of every session. You want to be, if you're back fighting for 15th, you want to be 14th. But he says, manage the frustration. Is that what you do to us, Bob?
I was just going to say.
I am much less successful at that. All right, getting set for the restart now. Still on the backstretch. They will come down to the hairpin, turn number 11, and then stand on it.
And like we say, nobody really knows what the other guy has. We talked about downforce level being part of this package. Who's got more downforce? Who's got little downforce? We don't know because we haven't gotten in the rhythm here to see what guys have at the end of these long straightaways because of our first, didn't really get through that first turn of the first lap, did we?
So what do you think, guys? Since they're in single file formation, are we going to see everybody make it through 1, 2, 3, and 4 successfully this time?
Unlikely.
Well, you got guys further back.
Nice.
This is the time to take advantage of opportunity.
Here we go. Off of turn number 11. And the Apex Brazil restart happens, and we are back to racing. Everybody down that front stretch with a little bit of dust still being kicked up. Here they come through that section that we had the problem in, turns 1 and 2.
Danica was kind of protecting the inside there a little bit. Not that anybody was challenging her, but she just took that even choice away from anybody.
There's 3 and 4, and everybody appears to be okay. So down one of the long straightaways, we'll call this the front stretch here, as the drivers get on the accelerator hard for the first time. And look how bumpy it is. Jack Arute is standing by with Marco Andretti involved in that scary-looking crash on the first lap. Jack?
And a heck of a way to start the 2010 IZOD IndyCar campaign, but from your perspective, do you have any idea what happened?
Yeah, we got hit from behind. I mean, normally when you can't see a foot in front of you, something inside your brain should tell you to lift, but I don't know, just a big disappointment for the Venom guys, but, you know, I guess we can't expect much more. When we start in the back, we caught a penalty in qualifying, unfortunately, because Matos and I got together, but it's amazing that it just slipped away that easily, because, you know, it looks like the Andretti Autosport cars are beginning to get some pace, so now we just pull for them.
How tough was it to be in the cockpit for as long as you were while they peeled that other car off of you?
Yeah, well, I need a minute to get my bearings anyway. I mean, hit my head pretty hard, but, you know, fortunately, we're all right.
Thanks, Marco.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah, thanks for talking with us, Marco. Good to see that you are okay.
He was really relatively calm about what had transpired there, wasn't he?
All right, first is Franchitti, second is Tagliani, then comes Ryan Hunter-Reay, TK, Rafael Matos running in 5th position on board with Tony Kanaan.
Look at the suspension move on that right front. It just gives you an idea of all the bumps and undulations that are there in that pit straightaway.
Now, of course, he's following Ryan Hunter-Reay. We just heard from Marco Andretti talk about now I've got to pull for Andretti Autosport. Well, making your debut, Ryan Hunter-Reay is leading, at least at the moment, ahead of Tony Kanaan, which is known as being essentially the team leader. So fantastic debut for Ryan Hunter-Reay in this race in the IZOD car.
And Hunter-Reay, it looks as though when we just watch a little bit of his shots, he's got really good entry speed, the way he's rolling into the corner. So he really comes up on the back of Alex Tagliani, under braking and rolling into those corners. So he's going to keep trying to fill his mirrors to get by him.
Justin Wilson has dropped back to 16th position. He pitted during the caution, trying to work his way back up. There he is in the Z-Line car. He brought the Z-Line sponsorship with him to Brian Reinbold Racing, or it came as a separate entity. But that's the same sponsor he had last year with Dale Coyne Racing. There is Tony Kanaan running 4th, about 2 1/3 seconds behind the leader, Franchitti.
And we really don't know why Wilson had a pit. We thought he was through that start there, and I think Jack has some more for us. Jack, what can you tell us?
Jack is a long way away. There's Danica Patrick running back in 10th position. She's about 9 1/3 seconds behind, and right behind her is the Dad's Root Beer car being driven by Mike Conway.
Who we knew was showing some speed earlier and had made it into that top 12, but unfortunately he brought out a full course yellow, and they say, sorry, we're going to take those 2 fastest laps away.
All right, we'll try it with Jack once again. What's the story on Justin Wilson, Jack?
You know, it's a good thing that we have Verizon as an IndyCar sponsor. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you about Justin Wilson. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. We said it, over 6 foot tall. He bangs his knees all the time. Well, I had breakfast with Justin this morning, and he said, it's amazing, Jack. My knees are bruised, but he showed me his elbows. And he said, the long back straightaway is so long and so bumpy. He said, my elbows look worse than my knees. How about that? He's getting banged around like he's playing under the boards in the NBA.
And we saw a classic pass into turn number 11 in the braking zone as Scott Dixon weaves his way through the field.
And that was Simona De Silvestro, who's had really a great weekend. She's been quick in a lot of the sessions and has been doing a great job as a debut.
Very impressive. Scott Dixon 13th, and Simona De Silvestro is running in 14th position. Scott Dixon got the position at the end of the long back straightaway, headed into turn number 11. Back with more on IndyCar Nonstop on Versus.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Canan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
What? Giant peanut with sea salt. Dude, you're freaking me out.
Now, try Planters almonds with sea salt and olive oil.
Take me out to the brickyard. Take me out with the crowds. Buy me some earplugs and a checkered cap. I don't care if we ever get back. Take me out to the brickyard. Take me out where it's loud. This place has a history that stirs the soul. 100-year drama that never gets old. Let me root, root, root over the engine's roar. Let me cheer every driver and car. For it's 300, 400, 500 miles around the old brickyard.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the new Peak backup camera system. With the Peak Jump Starter, you don't need another car to jump your dead battery, so there's no waiting. And the fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great as a mobile office or for tailgating.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
Big problem at the start of the race, but we are green right now. Dario Franchitti leads Alex Tagliani, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, and Rafael Matos. So we have 2 Brazilians in the top 5. And Dario, going back to last year, has led 5 consecutive races. He has led 3 of the 7 road and street races last year, and he won all 3 that he led. But Tagliani is not letting him get very far ahead.
Dario has just an incredible ability to just take it up one notch to lay that lap down he needs in qualifying. You know, just to go a little bit beyond. As well as his teammate, Scott Dixon. Both those guys really know how to dig deep to get that extra little bit when they need it.
5th and 6th go by. Here is the 7th place car of Muto. Then we have Danica and Mike Conway and others involved in great battles. Ryan Briscoe is another driver who is moving up through the field after an early pit stop.
And that was Briscoe sneaking by the inside of EJ Viso, and then Dixon wanted to take advantage of that too, but now he's still tucked behind him, but he's going to be just pushing all over the back of that number 8 KV car. Yeah,
Dixon is right behind the car of EJ Viso, which is the only KV Racing Technology car left in the race of the 3 that started. Here is a replay of Elio Castroneves a few laps ago. That's P. Silvestro ahead of her. And the front wing on the right side is askew.
Yeah, that's just that one splitter that it's not the outside end plate of it. It's just a splitter that is on kind of the second element of that front wing.
He has been able to get by Simona, so he moves up to 16th position, Elio Castroneves. Jack?
this is the first time in as long as I can remember, in fact, in all of the IZOD IndyCar history that Helio Castroneves has driven in, that he's working without his former chief mechanic and outside front tire changer, Rick Reineman. Reineman, approaching the age of 60, has been replaced by Sean Hanrahan. And I talked to Tim Cindric about it, and he said Rick was not at all happy about the decision to, this year, leave him back in the shops in Charlotte, North Carolina, and work on developing new ideas and new approaches to the IndyCar competition on pit road. So a shout out to Rick Reineman, who for the first time in as long as I've covered IndyCar racing is not here at a race.
And he was one of those guys that I always look to that in terms of just a crew chief and leading the charges, he was always as quick as anybody in changing that right front. I mean, he just set the standard of professionalism and just doing it right consistently.
Watching Ryan Hunter-Reay try to get second spot from Alex Tagliani. Good battle for second position there as Tony Kanaan looks on.
But you really have to be able to put Tagliani in perspective here, that you have leading is a Chip Ganassi Target machine, and you got two Andretti Autosports. These are huge established teams that have all the data. You're looking at a car for Tagliani running in second place that just got put together, that was built around Alex Tagliani. So yes, you can buy one of these cars, and essentially if you get, they have some great experienced people, but he's running right up there with them.
And just as we say that, that's Ryan Hunter-Reay tucking to the inside as they're going towards 11.
Oh, they bang wheels, it looked like.
Wow, looks like Tagliani's got some great straight line speed. He had to tuck back in. He pulled out, and there was nobody home. So nice job on the setup there, boys.
And that's what's fallen in line when we said that Ryan Hunter-Reay could really zoom in on the back of Tagliani in the tighter section because he's got more downforce. But when they get on that long shoot, we saw Ryan Hunter-Reay pull out, but he stalled out, and Tags kept the position.
Yep. The team principals for the FAS team is Andre Ozzie, who is an entrepreneur from Montreal. Also Jim Frudenberg and actor Jason Priestley, who at one time, of course, was a commentator on the IZOD IndyCar Series telecasts.
And Rob Edwards is managing that team. He's been around a lot. He's been with Derek Walker. He's been with lots of different teams, or his longest tenure, of course, is with Walker Racing. But that's fantastic. You can pull some people together and run at the front of one of these races.
And you talk the next kind of key component. Like we said, he's got some really good guys around him with that fast racing team, is Alan McDonald, who was TK's engineer last year. We know TK and Alan, they never really kind of meshed, but Alan McDonald, he's been with Andretti Green at the time. I believe he won a championship with Frank Keedy in 07 there. So, I mean, that's some deep knowledge, and Tags can wheel a car as well as anybody when it comes to a street race. I think back when he got in Conquest car at Detroit, that second day, all of a sudden he was up into the top 10 and never been in a Dallara IZOD IndyCar Series car before.
When CART raced in Rio de Janeiro in 2000, Alex Tagliani was the pole sitter for that race. Well, it's still Dario Franchitti leading Tagliani. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Dan Weldon is fifth in the Sao Paulo Indy 300 on Versus.
What? Giant peanut with sea salt. Dude, you're freaking me out.
Now, try Planters almonds with sea salt and olive oil.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
Just another perfect day. I think I'll walk this way where the trees do sing. I'm feeling part of everything. And all my troubles seem to fade away. Skies look brighter.
The hybrid for everyone is here. The Insight, designed and priced for us all from Honda.
12 summers of boat hauling, 63 miles of commuting daily. For any extreme from the road to the racetrack, nothing beats Mobile One. The choice of over half of all NASCAR teams. So put some NASCAR in your car. Mobile One.
On the next Sports Jobs with Junior Seau, Junior works hard to get Indy 500 winner Scott Dixon back to victory lane.
I think you just blew it all up.
Some jobs are the pits.
Yeah, I don't know that you're quick enough.
Sports Jobs with Junior Seau. Next on Versus. Live next Sunday, the UFC arrives on Versus with a stacked card. Vera, Jones, Dos Santos, Gonzaga. Only on Versus.
Coming up next after our coverage of the Sao Paulo Indy 300, it's Sports Jobs with Junior Seau. Junior hits the track and gets down and dirty as a crewman on pit road for the Indy 500 winner Scott Dixon. Junior does the jobs that make sports work. Sports Jobs with Junior Seau coming up next here on Versus. Franchitti, Tagliani, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, and Dan Weldon. And Dan Weldon tops the list. Those drivers who have made the biggest move. Started 18th, up to 5th. Mike Conway has got 9. And finally, Ryan Hunter-Reay gets second position from Alex Tagliani. He worked on that for several laps and finally got the job done.
But he showed some great patience in doing it. So now he should probably stretch that out, especially as getting into the twisty section now.
So Tagliani, Jack, will drop back to 3rd position ahead of TK.
And Bob, what's happening is they go down in the low to 22 gallons of fuel. Tagliani is reporting to Rob Edwards the car has started to go just a little bit loose. Figure the tags and the rest of the front runners should be coming into the pits in probably 10 to 11 more laps. So Tags figured it was smarter to let it get by rather than try and do a tussle with Ryan Hunter-Reay at this point.
And another point is, as we heard, Tags' car is just getting a little bit loose. So that means he's just kind of struggling to put the power down. But just make note, he started this race on the alternate Firestone tires, the reds, the ones that are a little softer, a little bit more grip. Now, TK, the guy racing him right now, Tony Kanaan has done an excellent job of staying with this lead pack, being on the primary black tires, which usually maybe aren't as fast. But they probably have a little longer shelf life than the reds, just because they're a harder compound, and they're designed to be that way. That's part of the give and take of the red Firestones versus the blacks.
Here he comes.
And he'll make the pass to the inside, locks him up. No, he's not going to be able to do it.
He was being optimistic, wasn't he? but sometimes that optimism can take you out of the race. He did a good job of getting back behind him, and he'll keep pressuring him.
From Justin Wilson's onboard camera, it's like we have a banner that has come off of the side of the wall, and
the car ahead of him, which shown previous lap was Will Power, looked like it might have rubbed the barrier, just peeled a little bit of that off and just went right up over the camera.
As long as it took the camera and didn't get over his face, that's, that would be the problem.
Now remember, there is, again this season, there is the overtake button. And it has been somewhat improved. Last year it was about 5 horsepower. They've made some changes. They've taken away the fuel trim on the steering wheel, so now it's 9 to 10 horsepower. So when you're dragging down that long 9/10 of a mile straightaway, overtake assist, as we call it, is still in play. You get 22 seconds for each of those presses.
And Scott Dixon and Ryan Briscoe have used that button most here in the first few laps of the race.
But a follow-up to that, let's keep in mind, when you look at the pushes available, they're available, you get 22 seconds. But for a road course, they're maybe not as impactful as an oval. It's still a good tool, but not as impactful as when we go super speedway racing.
And Jack, they can't adjust the fuel from the cockpit, so they do have the overtake button.
And it's become very valuable for everybody. But, guys, I've been really taking a look at what's been going on so far with those guys that pitted after the first full course yellow. And I defer to Jan here because he is the professor. But it's my opinion that right now you got to like Justin Wilson, Ryan Briscoe, as far as what they're doing. Because if they get a big chunk of yellow, they might be able to do this sucker in one more stop. Now, I'm looking at it, Jan, and I'm saying these guys could go far. it could go for just about to lap 68 or 70. It's going to be kind of interesting. And you see, they're starting to carve their way up through the field already.
Yes, Jack. Jack, I think it would take, you said a heap of yellow. It would take quite a bit at this point. The gamble that they played about coming in and making sure they didn't get cut tires is a good example of Justin Wilson and that disarrayed wing there for Castro Neves. But at the moment, everybody is on a two-stop strategy, but now we go full course caution, so we'll have to see.
That is
wave those yellows up there, and as they come into this 3-4 section, wave those yellows because she's right in the line.
I will say that when the pits are closed now, that when they do open the pits, I think most everyone will pit. Here's the Justin Wilson move.
Justin Wilson and Elio both got to the inside of Hideki Muto to pass him in turn number 11. Pits are closed. The full course caution is out because of the stalled car of Milka Duno, again driving for the Dale Coyne team this year. On board with Elio, he has moved up to 14th position.
So to follow up on Jack is saying, if you're the leaders, I would pit now. If I was someone who pitted early because of a possible tire cut, and I had taken on some fuel, this would be the time that I would roll the dice and let the other people pit and get my track position back.
How about you, Mr. Buell?
Well, the one thing is they've done a pretty good stint. Even if you did come in and top up with that fuel, you know, how many more green laps can you get? And it's part of a risk because they always say yellow breeds yellow, so you can maybe come back in. I think right now is, even if I did top off, we've run so many green laps, I probably would come in. So we'll see what Dixon and Wilson do.
Well, here's the one upside. The one upside, even if everyone does come in, if you've already had a splash of fuel, theoretically, your pit stop would be a little bit shorter, and you can pick up some track position there.
Excellent point. And don't make light of what you just said with that. That is how this game is played. Just because they don't have to spend that extra half a second of fuel putting in it because they have more in there. That's the difference of getting track position on these street races. That little minute detail. That's why you're the professor.
Dario has led all the way so far since the drop of the green flag. Ryan Hunter-Reay, who had a great run last year at St. Pete, is running in second position. Tag, TK, and Weldon are your top 5.
You know who's breathing a sigh of relief is Tagliani, because he was taking a lot of heat. And said the car was going loose. Perfect time for a pit stop.
Target Chip Ganassi Racing is in its 20th season of open wheel racing, 7 championships, 74 wins, and 2 victories at Indianapolis. Now the pits are open, but remember now, the entrance to the pits is beyond those first 4 corners after the start-finish line.
And you have the start-finish line, which is the concrete section, which is the front straightaway. But like you said, you have those corners, and then you have that long pit straightaway that's in front of the pits. So it's kind of a unique sequence of where the start-finish line is at this racetrack relative to pit road.
Right.
Be very interesting to see how many peel off.
I'm peeling off.
I fully expect the majority of this front group will all pull off. When you get down to 8th, 9th, 10th, then you wonder.
So you're saying Dixon and Wilson and Briscoe. You know what? Briscoe's going to stay out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also could go for the quick pit stop. We'll see.
Cars move through turns 1 and 2. Now a little bit of straightaway down to 3 and 4. And then after they come out of 3 and 4, you will see them dart sharply into pit lane.
And this is the pit window. We are in a real pit window for this first stop.
Yeah.
We're in the front end of it, but we're in it.
Okay, there's the entrance to pit lane.
They're all coming in. Anybody staying out?
That looks like part of the race circuit. That's pit road. Okay, there is
Tagliani. He's a new team, so he's not going to have the same pit selection. Mike Conway.
Wilson.
Jack, down to you for the pit stops.
As the pit stops continue to take place, one of the things you were talking about, how fast they are on pit road. Remember that they're able to go as they go to the tires and they have finished their work on Ryan Briscoe. They're able to go open until they get under the bridge. The pit speed limit does not start on pit road, guys, until you exit the tunnel that is the bridge overtake. So they've got room to make hay, even though they've committed to the pits. But by the way, Jan and guys, I kind of like the call that some of the others made by staying out.
Like Simona De Silvestro, who now takes the lead. There weren't many. Who else? Is she the only one?
I think so.
Yep.
Here comes Dario.
Well, she's going to lead her first IZOD
Good for her.
Race.
First race, and she's a leader under caution here at Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Stay with us for more on Versus. Back at Sao Paulo, Brazil, and look at the weather over to the left of the racetrack. It rained earlier, and Jack, is it going to rain again, or is that moving away from the track?
I got to tell you, Bob, I'm starting to feel like the hippy-dippy weatherman here. Remember George Carlin? Take a look at all these red cells. Now, again, this is Sao Paulo. This has been coming in at a pretty rapid rate, and I want to show you the thunderclouds are already developing up over where the Sambadrome is, where the start-finish line is, and all these pit crews have seen it. Thus far, thank God, have not seen any lightning.
And I also have an update when we were at that break. Simona De Silvestro actually pitted on lap 20. So she is back on the same sequence. She doesn't have to pit in a few laps. She can go all the way to the next window like everyone else. So she's actually leading this as a true leader because of some clever pit work. And look at this race off of pit road.
Yeah, Kanan gains a position. Tagliani loses one. Briscoe, the big gainer, along with Will Power. So Simona De Silvestro, in her very first race, leads. Can you tell me who was the most recent driver to lead in his very first IZOD IndyCar Series event? You don't have to go back that far. Like 2 years.
Rahal?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And before that, Patrick Carpentier. Simona De Silvestro, you survived your first test.
I was about to push the button on that. You know, you didn't push your button. You just yelled out, "Play by the rules, man."
By the way, we talked with Graham. For those of you who did not see our qualifying show yesterday, we talked with Graham by phone, and he confirms that he will be in the Sarah Fisher car 2 races prior to Indianapolis, and hopefully we'll have something full-time by that time. It was good to talk to Graham yesterday and know that he's got something in the works.
And pretty confident. He's been very happy with what he's seen over at Sarah Fisher Racing. I mean, he was excited about the opportunity. He's going to do some testing with them prior to showing up in St. Pete, which is really important to get that chemistry going with that new team.
So now you're doing your first race. You look in the mirror. You got Dario Franchitti behind you, as well as everyone else. You like getting the radio call. Okay, you're going to take the green. You got Dario behind you. I mean, that you go, wow. Am I dreaming?
I was in Sebring when Simona was doing her first test, or her first time in the IndyCar, and you could just tell when you went around and watched the corners that she was driving the car. The car wasn't driving her. You know, she was putting the car on the racetrack where she wanted to put it, in the proper point braking, going in, turning in, apex, track out. So she's holding that end of it up. Great job.
And Elio on pit lane once again. See what they do here for Elio in the late stages, hopefully, of this yellow period.
Going for the
puts
front
the
wing.
reds on.
Now, is this a play with regards to the weather that's coming in, cooling off a little bit right now? We know it's going to be raining later. Let's get out and use our reds now until that rain hits.
That's, I believe, a case of just wanting to replace the front wing, and they've already lost a lot of track position in pitting anyway. And if it does rain, you certainly don't want to be missing a piece of that front wing. You need all the downforce that you can get.
But also go to the reds, because if we see the rain's coming, we shouldn't save these to the end. Let's use them now, because we're going to have to put our rain tires on later.
We'll be going green this time around. The lights atop the pace car are out. And so Simona Di Silvestro, who is last year's Formula Atlantic champion, moving into the IZOD IndyCar Series, will lead them to the green flag. And the IZOD fastest race lap so far has been turned in by Ryan Hunter-Reay with a minute 29.9.
Well, so what that tells us, Jan, is we know he didn't have as much, he had more downforce in his car than Alex Tagliani when he was racing him, but that downforce obviously pays off through the corners here, but also when you have to have downforce to give you grip and acceleration onto these straightaways, that's a better trade-off than being trimmed out for speed at the end of the long straightaways.
There we go. Apex Brazil restart. Back to competition. Let's see how Simona handles the situation as they race down into turn 1 as Paul Blevin gives the drivers the green flag.
He's working that green flag too, wasn't he? Putting the power down. You see Simona, just that rear end. I'm going to put that power down.
Boy, her heart rate had to be pegged coming up there to get that green. Once she gets down through the first couple corners, she'll start to settle down. Once she realizes they're not going to gobble her up too fast. But Hunter-Reay is after it.
Yeah, and look at the gap that Simona has back to Dario. She's got breathing room. Just concentrate now on what's in front of you.
Simona is from Switzerland and has really established some great credentials in the Atlantic Series.
4 wins, 4 poles last year she had.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay is just all over the back wing of Dario.
Yeah, he's all over him like a cheap suit.
Simona now lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. Lots of actually Tagliani's an Arizona guy too as well.
So here's the run through turn 10 onto this long back straightaway. So let's size up the downforce package between Dario and Hunter-Reay. Let's see if Hunter can do something.
There's the rookie tracker. You can see that one car, Takuma Sato, is out of the race.
And sure
here
enough,
he is, Ryan Hunter-Reay, trying to get second from Dario, and does so.
So how that looked is they probably were they're very similar in their aero package, but Hunter-Reay's car is just working a lot better through the corners. But the way they kind of dragged each other on the straightaway, I would say their aero package is close.
And I was checking. I did not see any overtake assist there. So that was simply, as you said, Robbie, the speed of the cars on the straightaways and the aero load.
We do have a local yellow in turn number 1, but it will not bring out a full course caution. Now Ryan Hunter-Reay looks for the opportunity for himself to take the lead.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. There it is. Whoa, look at the bounce.
But can he stop? Can he stop?
You know, we talked about the bumps when you get offline, but I didn't think we were going to hit bumps and get airborne.
And
you see that?
Send sparks everywhere.
What a good job, because when you hit those bumps and you get airborne, obviously the contact patch, the tire comes off the pavement, usually it lengthens your brake zone, but he did a great job.
And he's doing this on black sidewalls. He's on the primary Firestone Firehawks, and he's flying.
Well, you know, that reminds me of something. You know, we both read last night. He's the one guy that said yesterday, I wish we would have qualified because my car was so good when you had the concrete section that was so slippery. He's the one guy that said, I really wanted to qualify yesterday. That's confidence with his race car.
Jack, what's the latest on the weather from the hippy-dippy weatherman?
Well, they say it's coming, and I can attest to the fact that it has gotten as dark as it has been in Sao Paulo since we arrived. And the issue is right now, these cars are going to most likely have to go to rain tires. The wind is picked up, everything, as you see a dice for a position there between Danica Patrick and Ryan Briscoe. And remember one thing, if we have to go to rain tires, the red and black requirements go out the windows, fellas. If we go to a rain tire, you don't have to fulfill that. And that's what Di Silvestro has done. She's run the entire race on the red tires until her last pit stop. Oh, trouble.
TK gets hit by somebody.
And during all that, notice Briscoe tucked into the pits, guys, to maybe come in with tires. A lot going on real quick there.
Was it Tagliani that got into the back of?
I wasn't sure who it was.
Well, there's Briscoe.
So there's Briscoe going to the race. You notice how he had just gotten passed by Danica and was being hounded by Conway? And now it's yellow.
Wow, hometown hero. The fans are not going to like this.
And we're still local yellow. The track is green as we speak right now.
I thought it looked like it might have been a KV car, but let's first of all, just listen.
And he's going to get lifted in the air right here. Whoa! And we didn't see who that was.
Well, Tagliani was right behind him.
Well, that would be...
Yes. No. Tagliani got pushed by
Weldon is...
no. Let's make sure that's Weldon or...
Sure.
I don't know. There's a couple red, white, and blue cars.
Weldon
pull
was
that
running
back.
fifth, so I think it was.
Okay. We still need to confirm that, I think.
So, yes and no. Yes, it was Tagliani, but he was helped.
Right. He, too, was a victim.
He was punted.
Ryan Briscoe is the first to go to rain tires. Here is the replay of the tire change. Jack kind of rolling the dice here, hoping for a wet racetrack, huh?
You know, so many times, and the rain is beginning to come, guys. Now we're starting to feel the drops. What a great call on the part of Roger Penske. When that yellow came out, that local yellow, he called his driver in. Let's go to the rains first. Everybody else is going to have to come in eventually. Believe me, we're starting to see the big raindrops. And guess what? Ryan Briscoe will just be able to matriculate his way, as they say, through the field.
Yeah, you can see it's getting pretty wet there on the backstretch.
And this is the worst part. Right when that rain first hits, you got the oil that's coming up through that brand new black tarmac. It is, I don't know how you describe how slick it really can be.
It's like on ice.
It is, and you got that big surface area of the Firestone slicks. That just exaggerates everything.
And the scary part is you don't know how wet the next corner is going to be, because you haven't driven through there yet.
Exactly, and it's just coming down versus when it's just pouring rain and you've been out for a lap, you know what to expect for the most part.
Now, TK, of course, just got passed and went a lap down. He was involved in that incident, so he was in the top 5 and is still running in third on the track, but is not in that position. And look at them go into the pits.
Hunter Ray stayed out.
Simona stayed out. And let's keep track of where Briscoe's going to cycle through. We saw him peel in and take tires before anybody else, as Jack was just saying.
Waiting for Tony Kanaan. Oh, the 23 of Anna Beatrice is not going where she wants to go. Here's TK stop.
She found out how slick it was with a little bit of rain.
Tony has a lot of ground to make up because of that little incident there. Justin Wilson almost colliding with his teammate, Conway.
That's not good, huh? That's not good.
What do you think about that?
Well, they didn't hit. Maybe that's the beginning of their love affair. I don't know.
Franchini comes out, so does Scott Dixon. You can see how big those raindrops are as Dan Weldon relinquishes a spot in the top 5 to make a stop.
And look how much slower things happen out on the racetrack now. We still are green. It's not under yellow, but just the slick nature of this racetrack now. This brand new black tarmac. It really, with the heat they have there, it must really just bring up that oil and be slicker than...
We might mention that the reason this race started so early in Brazil is because on a normal day this time of year it rains about 4 o'clock. Well, it didn't today.
Came a little bit early.
A little bit early.
Oh, Ryan Hunter-Reay
missed the corner.
Remember, he didn't come into the pits, so he's still on slicks.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to come in right now. But no penalty for what he did. He just missed the braking point. He didn't overtake anybody.
Danica spins.
Same place that we just saw.
Oh, Romancini.
Mario Romancini, another graduate of the Firestone Indy Lights, and the full course caution comes out. His cars are slipping and sliding everywhere, Jack. It's a real skating rink out there.
And Bob, if you take a look at some of the camera shots as we come around the racetrack, you'll see what looks like little snowballs. There are actually areas on the racetrack where hail has begun to fall. So next thing I guess we'll have is locusts. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can almost see the size of the raindrops is too big, really, for normal rain, and we kind of suspected there might have been a little bit of hail.
Watch the blend line when Hunter Ray comes out here.
Where is Briscoe? That's what I want to know.
Oh, and we have a car that has made contact with the wall.
Is that Alex Lloyd, guys? And
it looks like the Boy Scout Dale Coyne entry to me.
So I was just about to say, when the rain hits, look at it, it's already puddling on that back straightaway. When the rain hits, you just have to go anywhere on the racetrack to look for grip. You got to throw out what you know of a practical racing line and just search for grip. Avoid puddles. It's crazy. It's a whole different setup to the car and everything.
Heavy rain falling on the streets of Sao Paulo in the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Stay with us on Versus.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected. Tony Kanaan. Select race transport. Mission finish first. At racetotheparty.com.
Three-time Indy 500 winner, Elio Castroneves. Danica Patrick into the lead, making history. Fans on their feet for the side-by-side action. Mario Branchini, your series champion.
Leave your mark on the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, March 26th through the 28th.
Live next Sunday, the UFC arrives on Versus with a stacked card, featuring a dynamic light heavyweight clash.
They're looking to finish. Big elbows from Johnny Bones Jones.
And a battle of Brazilian heavyweights.
Gabriel Gonzaga.
The UFC comes to the fastest growing sports network. Vera Jones, Dos Santos Gonzaga, plus Congo Buentello, only on Versus.
Kinds of things happening on the race course here in Sao Paulo. Alex Lloyd was the car that had obvious contact with the wall because the rear wing is not where it should be. So that's one reason for a full course caution. But the main reason is because of the incredibly hard rain that is falling right now. Danica Patrick, we saw her spin down in turn number 1. She's in the pits for a new nose. The GoDaddy.com machine rolls back out there.
If you could, too, with pit stops right now, we may take a replay. Let's take a look at what happened.
This is Danica.
Under braking, just simple braking as you're coming into turn 1 there.
And gonna hit the tires and break the nose.
So something else you would want to do coming into pit road right now, if you had time, as maybe these guys do on a full close yellow, is anything you can do to this race car to make it softer, or if you have time to put more downforce in the car to get grip in these conditions. Those are some of the simple, quick things you want to do when you get this rain like this.
You will notice at the top of your screen there is no rundown of how the cars are running, and that's because this storm has knocked out communications to not only us here in the studio, but also to the teams at the racetrack.
At least we have this.
We do?
We got this. Isn't this good?
So there was a visibility problem at the start of the race because of dust being kicked up here on the straightaway. Now it's a problem with heavy rain and spray coming up from the cars.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
What? Giant peanut with sea salt. Dude, you're freaking me out.
Now, try Planters almonds with sea salt and olive oil.
Take me out to the brickyard. Take me out with the crowds. Buy me some earplugs and a checkered cap. I don't care if we ever get back. Take me out to the brickyard. Take me out where it's loud. This place has a history that stirs the soul. 100-year drama that never gets old. Let me root, root, root over the engine's roar. Let me cheer every driver and car. For it's 300, 400, 500 miles round the old brickyard.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
The fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great for travel, mobile office, and all-out tailgating. It's easy to hook up. Plug in almost anything. Laptop, cell phone, TV, blender, whatever. Peak inverters turn your car into a party on wheels.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
Back at Sao Paulo, heavy rain falling on the race course. And we're coming up to near the halfway point. Now, this could become a timed race, but we have no confirmation of that right now. And as we will repeat, we have no timing and scoring information either at the track itself or here in the booth. And look at the incredible amount of water that has fallen.
And Bob, when Tony Kottman designed this circuit, they knew they could have this kind of rain, and they decided when they laid down the pavement not to make it flat, to leave the crown in the road. They knew that this could happen. In fact, that's why the race was scheduled early, so they have taken drainage into effect. Of course, you got to wait for it to stop coming down in monsoon proportions, but they have made provisions for drainage. So hopefully, as this thundercloud moves on, it'll drain and we can get going.
And there's nothing worse than going down a straightaway and hitting standing water, because as soon as you hit that with that big surface area of the Firestone tires, you just instantly hydroplane, and you absolutely are just holding on for the ride or let go of the wheel. At that point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Ryan Hunter-Ray is, we assume, the leader of the race. Roman Cini has spun once again for Conquest Racing. The dolly on the side pod is a soft drink in Brazil. Jack has more on the weather situation. Is it improving any, Jack?
Yes, indeed it is, Bob. I'm checking the radar right now, and it shows me that the major storm cell has begun to pass. And I'm looking out my window as I'm here, I'm taking cover like everybody else. Guess what? I see the sun and the clouds have broken up. Oh. I'm going to go on the record and predict we've got about another 5 minutes of rain. And then we'll begin to have that Brazilian drying process.
All right. We're on lap number 33, and here are the top 5. Hunter-Ray, Will Power is second, Franchitti third, Dixon is fourth, and Mike Conway is running in 5th position.
Nice move for Mike Conway. Again, we need to get those confirmed because, as you mentioned, timing and scoring is down, not just out of Brazil, but in Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be some sorting out of who was where as they went full course.
And we didn't see Briscoe in that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought with that early move that they made, Team Penske, to come in and put those reins on, it looked to be pretty good. But obviously where and how we cycled through.
Well, here's the way you cycle that out. The very first person to put on rain tires was Briscoe. The very last one was Ryan Hunter-Reay. And Ryan Hunter-Reay is leading. And
Briscoe's back in the pits.
Exactly. So it just turned out in this particular case, if you could keep it on the island and not crash, wait to get your rain tires.
And you notice what they're doing under yellow? They're taking the time. They're putting more downforce in that car right now. That's
the key.
What you need to do when it gets wet like this is make the car as soft as possible. So if you could disconnect the sway bar so that car can roll over and get grip, and then have obviously as much aero in it to push you down into the racetrack.
We have heard that there are more people in Brazil watching this race on television than in any other time in history. This is the most watched television show in history. Wow. Of Brazil. That's pretty cool.
So what do you guys, tell me what you guys think. Notice on Ryan Hunter-Reay's car, it has his name on that back wing.
Yeah.
And Mike Kelly from IZOD, that was something that he wanted. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's a great idea. Under normal circumstances, when there isn't a spray coming up, it will help, I think, in identifying the driver of the car. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to bring the cars down pit lane and stop the race. They're going to take the brooms and other necessary equipment onto the track to prevent, or at least to hopefully get rid of some of the ponding. The ponding is the problem. Wet racetrack, well, it is a problem, but not nearly as much as you said, Robbie, about how you don't want to come up onto a puddle of water at 170 miles an hour.
And there is the red flags, which means, as you said, come down pit road, shut things down. We'll get everything sorted out, cleaned up, and hopefully this will push through and we'll get back to.
And Jack Root said, looking out his window, that we're only 5 minutes away, so that would be good.
You know, the one thing that we haven't talked about of the changes you make to the car, the toughest thing when you're racing in the rain like this and on a street course in long straightaways is the massive rooster tails that these cars put up and the mist that's floating there. You can't see anything in front of you. You got to go off of references to the right and the left, because if you're looking ahead, you're not going to see anything.
Jack, here they come down pit lane, so the race will be stopped here for hopefully a short period.
Yeah, Bob, and the race is already stopped for a guy that really qualified well, Alex Tagliani in the B&W Bowers and Wilkins Special. Tags, tell us what happened that knocked you out of this race.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing, Jack. Obviously, we were running pretty easy all race long. Our car was fantastic and tribute to the work of the boys. So, yeah, it's disappointing because I think Dan, never broke, or I don't know what happened, and he just threw me up in the air into Tony's car. So, to end the race like this, it's it's heartbreaking.
All right, thanks. We're glad you're okay, though.
Thank you.
Bob? I have a feeling we're going to be talking with him a lot during this season. I think that there are good things to come for that brand new team in the IZOD IndyCar season. Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay will stop behind the pace car with all the others in the race, and we have 19 cars that are still running in competition. And yeah, it's bad for those of us who are televising this race, but you kind of feel sorry for all these race fans who had hoped and looked forward to this event so much. And, well, who knows? We could have something for them to talk about before this thing is over. Red flag in the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil because of rain. We will be back with more on Versus. Back in Sao Paulo, where the race has been stopped in order for the track officials to get some of the ponded water up. But there is sun, blue sky overhead, so hopefully this will be a very short red flag period. Well, a lot has happened here in the early stages of this event in the first half, or almost the first half. And Jan Beekes can run down exactly what has happened since we got the green.
And Bob, of course, the fireworks started right from the drop of the green flag. It wasn't just one contact. It started with Takuma Sato. A little bit of a pileup, then watch the very back of the screen. Mario Moraes couldn't get it stopped over the top of Marco Andretti. And thankfully, great news, after a wheel in the cockpit on top of Marco, he was A-OK, but wow, that is a lot of damage and not the way you want to start the season. Once you get rolling up into lap 28, then we saw a great battle after a restart. Ryan Hunter-Reay gets off the ground on an aggressive move going by. First race for Simona de Silvestro. Very nice ride for her. Then Roger Penske rolling the dice, going for rain tires with Brian Briscoe, the first to do so. Was it a bit too early? Some people stayed out on the course as the rain started to come down, but before they went for rain tires, Dan Weldon got in the back of Tagliani. You just heard him say how disappointed he was. He couldn't do anything at that point but punt into the back of Tony Kanaan. Tony, at this point, not a thing he can do. Hopes to keep it running, which he does, but Tagliani's day was over.
And now there is the effort to get some of the water off of the race course. The top 8, Hunter-Reay, Power, Franchitti, Dixon, Conway, Matos, Wilson, and Mira. And you can see we have our information back from timing and scoring, and at the top of your screen you can see where everybody is running. Now, when they go green, this is going to be a timed race. There will be 44 minutes of racing when they get the green flag. And as you can see, Jack is right there ready to talk with Ryan Hunter-Reay. Jack?
In fact, they've just given the word, Bob, that because it's going to take a little while, they're going to allow the drivers to get out of their cars. And you know what? Robbie Buell and I'm sure Jan can tell you, there's nothing worse than having to sit in a wet car and not be at speed. It's got to be frustrating. But for Ryan Hunter-Reay, driving, by the way, for the series sponsor, IZOD, and they've stayed with Ryan in the number 37. And as he gets out, we'll get a quick word with him. Ryan, welcome to the front of the field. I think that's all I can think about saying. I mean, this has been a good ride for you so far.
Yeah, I didn't expect getting out of the car like this, having to get back in. I really wish we were still out there because the biggest advantage in the rain is leading the race. And so we had that going for us, but hey, we'll just have to keep on going, having a blast with this team. And
let's talk a little bit about the pass that put you in the lead going by Silvestro, Di Silvestro. What actually went into it?
I just got a good run on her and got out. And I mean, Dario was the tougher one to get by. So I knew Dario was really for the lead of the race. So you know, it was tough, but the car is really good, and it's such a fine line between getting the right grip and absolutely just lighting the car up and sticking it in the wall right now with this.
We've been watching you, though, all weekend, and it's been great car control on your part. A lot of drivers have said it's kind of like riding a bucking bronco out there, but you seem to have mastered it. What is the key?
I don't know. I mean, we tend to do well with low grip, you know, adverse conditions races, and this is one of them. So we have to bring it home here, and we're gonna have a big challenge from the back here. I'm sure the guys like the Ganassi guys and the Penske guys will be right there knocking on our door. But it's just been a blast with this team, and IZOD as a primary sponsor on the car. I'm really proud to have them up here, and it's just been a lot of fun. But I still have the biggest job yet to go do, so I'm not talking anymore about that.
Yeah, and I'm sure they haven't had a chance to tell you yet. It won't be laps now. It will be a timed race when we go back to green. So you'll have about 44 minutes that you're going to have to try and stay out front. Thanks for joining us for a couple of minutes.
Thanks a lot.
Ryan Hunter-Reay is leading for the first time since he won at Watkins Glen in 2008. And of course, the series sponsors his car. IZOD.
And did you see how hard he was working in that race car, how hot he was, how much he was sweating? So don't take for granted of how hard these guys have to work. And we saw that bumpy pass that he made on Simona de Silvestro.
Yeah.
I mean, he's working his tail off in that car. And, you know, he's pretty calm about it there, but you can just see it in his face how red he is.
That car he's so like nonchalant. Yeah, well, she wasn't that hard to get by. And right as he was talking, the car was in the air.
Yeah.
It was a great slow motion shot of the car flying through the air on a place he hadn't passed before, but that was nice. And the one thing that the drivers are going to do on this one time they get out is they're all changing their visor. Did you hear that one official say, change your visor, guys? That's because water gets in between your tear-offs and it beads up. So you want to be able to see where the heck you're going and get a clean visor on there.
Well, the rain did not scare away the fans. They are still around, and they have taken off their rain gear and getting set for hopefully some sunshine and the completion of this timed race. Helio Castroneves and all the other drivers have been told to get out of their cars because it's going to take a little bit to get the ponded water off of the racetrack. We have 15 cars on the lead lap and a total of 18 still running, with Ryan Hunter-Reay leading at the Sao Paulo Indy 300.
Sao Paulo Indy 300 on Versus is brought to you by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's.
I built a house 1 hour from Belo Horizonte, my city that I was born. And it's by the mountains and waterfalls, and it's a beautiful place in Brazil. It's called Serra do Cipó. I grew up mountain biking. That was one of the reasons I built the house over there, is just to spend a lot of time with my friends. I raced in Sao Paulo basically my whole childhood and spent a lot of time at the racetracks in Sao Paulo, and coming back now will bring a lot of my memories for sure. I can't wait to get there and turn some fast laps. Brazil, I'm coming home.
Rafael Matos is currently running in the 6th position as we are waiting the track to get a little bit drier. He is the best of the Brazilian drivers at the moment. Vitor Meira is 8th, Helio 9th, and Ana Beatriz is in 12th position. Also, Tony Kanaan is now a lap down. Romancini 17th, and of course Mario Moraes was out on the first lap with the incident in turn number 1. All right, let's go down and talk to Jack Arute, who is standing by with Will Power, who is running in 2nd spot.
All right, guys, so what do you do if you have a break in the middle of a race in Rio? If you're Will Power, you decide to have a little bit of a bite to eat, a sandwich. I don't even want to dare try to figure out what you're eating there, Will. What's in between those pieces of wheat bread?
I think it's banana and honey. Very nice. Not very nice. Not really that nice, but good for energy.
I know you and I had a big conversation about the art of spreading Vegemite on wheat bread this morning, but I really want to talk to you, and if you can get a good look at what's happened to Will Power's hands down by his fingertips, they have not only become to blister, but I mean they are literally bleeding beneath the gloves. That's how difficult this has been. How tough is it in the race car when you have that kind of feel?
Yeah, well, once I start pushing and racing, I don't feel it. When you're under yellow, you start to feel it again. But I'm having a lot of fun out there. It's great to have the Verizon Team Penske car right up there, and we made a good call right at the end there. And as I predicted, it would be a wild race, and that's exactly what it is.
Let's talk about the fact now that it goes to a timed race, it's going to be about 40 minutes or so. Does that change the way you approach this, you and your team, at all?
Not really. I think, everyone's going to have to do one more stop. It's all going to be governed by how quickly the track dries. Everyone goes back to slicks. So, maybe you'll have to do a splash at the end. I don't know.
I'm a little hesitant to ask you to go back to the start of the race because that could be one of the wildest and woolliest starts we've seen in quite some time. What was it like from your perspective?
Well, it was all fine until I got rammed from behind. I don't know who hit me, but yeah, I mean, I was taking it easy into the first turn. I mean, I was close to the guy in front, and then I got hit from behind really hard, and he cut my tire, and that was that.
I want to let you in on a secret. Now, Elvis Presley liked banana, too. He liked it, though, with peanut butter, not honey.
That's what I was told. The boys were saying that's what Elvis used to eat, so That's got to be good.
I'm really going to be in trouble, Bob, if he says, thank you very much.
Okay, Will Power running in second spot. Taking a little bit of a breather here under our red flag. Couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, let me mention that since Marco Andretti was in the race such a short time, yesterday was his 23rd birthday. We need to talk about Gilles de Ferran and the fact that he has become a co-owner of the car that Rafael Matos drives, and we saw the feature on him just a bit ago.
Yes, and of course Rafael Matos talking about how he started racing in Sao Paulo. That's the same case for Gilles de Ferran. Said that only a few miles from this racetrack was where he drove his first kart, and that got his career started, and said that he knew this was going to be just another race until he got to Sao Paulo, and he said he just knew it was going to take on a different life. And so it's been an exciting time for Gilles de Ferran as a team owner now as well.
And how about for Rafa? And you guys know from last year, I'm a big fan of Rafa Matos and him coming up through kind of the racing ladder and winning championships all the way to getting a great opportunity with the Lusco Dragon team that now Gilles de Ferran's joined. But as a Brazilian driver and Rafa to have a go-to guy of Gilles de Ferran from, you know, the same homeland and just kind of asking, hey, is this real? Is this how it works? I mean, it's nice to have that in your back pocket.
And the other thing let's talk about is something that we learned about just last night from KV Racing Technology. The words Lotus and Cosworth are going to be back in the series.
Lotus as a sponsor, Cosworth not as a manufacturer, but as an engineering firm, of course. KV Racing stands for Kalkoven Vassar, and Kalkoven being one of the principals of Cosworth Engineering. So they're going to take some of that engineering and revive an old name.
Yeah, and how great is it to have both of those names back with our sport in a different role, but at least part of the game. I think is great.
And in 2012, the IZOD IndyCar Series will change chassis. And during our qualifying show yesterday, we gave you a brief look at what the cars may look at, but Jan can further expound upon that. 5 manufacturers have indicated that they would like to get one of their cars.
This is one of the angles of the Dallara chassis they're thinking about using. You can see the fairings, the idea to take the drag away from the car. Lola is also going to make a challenge, and part of what they're looking at is that is the very same chassis, but use 2 different body packages, as well as the fact use the same chassis for Indy lights. For Swift, they have an idea of controlling the air a little different way, but those lights, they think about taking a clear plastic panel to show lights for fuel position, brake position, place in the race, things that the fans can see and identify. So all really nice ideas. And then there's a new challenger, BAT, which is Bruce Ashmore, Alan Mertens, Tim Wardrop, all engineers and designers who have been in the series. That is their concept. And then, of course, there is the challenger that you would say is revolutionary. That is the Delta Wing. We have the live model here. This is not a running version, but that's a full-scale model that has been milled out of one solid piece of foam. The idea behind this design, it was designed by computer to be one that could have an engine half the size, use half the fuel, but still go 230 miles an hour, specially made Firestone tires on the front. Look how narrow that is. It's still an open wheel car, but this shape came from being able to have cars run nose to tail. A neat feature at the rear of the car as well. The engine is not an integral part of the chassis. It's called a non-stressed member. You could drop any engine into this car, so you could have competition against manufacturers. And a really cool thing at the back, the power distribution is done by an active differential, meaning that the way the power is put down, you could adjust it in the cockpit, and you wouldn't have to use staggered tires on oval. So definitely revolutionary. And in person, because we have it right here in the studio, I've seen all the pictures, but in person, this thing is radical.
Absolutely.
It is, and I think it's one of those, we have to have something radical like this to kind of prompt us of thinking, what is the future of IndyCar racing? This may be a little bit far on one side, but it prompts that thought process. And is this the car, is this a speed racer-like car that our fans 15 years from now are going to be used to seeing over here at the Indianapolis 500?
Yep.
Definitely a radical concept. If you swing over to the current generation car that we also have in the studio, the Dallara, such a different look, but it's been such a great car since 2003 as the sole car in the series. You can see how many appendages, how many things have grown on these cars to provide downforce. That's because it's very powerful. It needs a lot of downforce, just a different philosophy of brute force and just forcing it on the ground and making it look. The other one is all sleek and aerodynamic.
And that's the car that Graham Rahal will be driving. Well, we understand that within 5 to 10 minutes, the cars will be turned loose once again, and we will get back to racing. We are under red because of a tremendous rainstorm that passed over the racetrack a few minutes ago. We talked about Gilles de Ferran just a few minutes ago. Jack has caught up with the former IndyCar 500 winner.
And Bob, Gilles de Ferran is making some notes in his notebook. And, you know, as a reporter, I want to look over, and then I realized he's writing them in Portuguese. Very smart on your part. First of all, welcome back to IndyCar racing at this level in the IZOD IndyCar Series. Getting together with Steve Luxo and with Jay Penske, what has, first of all, been your biggest challenge? And second of all, what's it been like to work with those two guys?
I tell you, I'll answer the second part first. I mean, both, I know Jay for over 10 years, and he's a great friend, and working with him it's been a pleasure. I mean, he's a very energetic guy and highly intelligent, And Steve, I mean, he needs no introduction. I mean, he's a bit of a superstar, really, and I'm really learning a lot from Steve already. And you know, just I guess getting started over here, a lot to do, a lot to take in, you know, and just trying to get some traction here, as he used to say.
Well, it's good to have you back, and we wish you the best of luck the whole season. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The winner of the 2003 Indianapolis 500, Gilles de Ferran. And it's also good to see this guy back in the cockpit. That, of course, is Vitor Meira, who returns to the A.J. Foyt team for the first time since Indianapolis last year, when he, of course, had a rather ugly wreck. Broke a couple of vertebrae and put him on the sidelines for the rest of the year. But Vitor is looking good here, running in 8th position at the break. 35 laps completed. And as you can see, the drivers are putting their helmets back on. And hopefully we'll get back to racing soon. Here is the crash that sidelined Vitor Meira during the 500 last year.
Going into turn 1. There's the contact with Rafa Matos, who we just talked to, the Gilles de Ferran right before that, joined that team.
And boy, at real speed, you can just feel that impact. That was a big hit, and so great to see him back.
Track crew is working at the exit of the pit area at turn number 6. Shouldn't be too much longer. Stay with us for more of the Sao Paulo Indy 300. On Versus, we'll be back with more in just a moment. IZOD IndyCar Series beginning its 2010 campaign here today in the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Within 5 to 10 minutes, hopefully, Jack, we are going to get this thing back underway because the weather's looking much better.
And Bob, let's take a look at, first of all, how come you guys don't give me any credit when I predicted that it would stop raining in 5 minutes? I didn't anticipate the red flag, but I mean, my gosh. But I want to take a little time to talk about, with Jan Bikas, the strategy, because I think this changes everything a little bit. When we go back, we're going to have just about 44 minutes. It's going to become a timed race. Well, everybody is going to have to come into the pits now and take a change of Firestone tires from the reins to either the blacks or the reds now, because that rule is out the window. But that means you're going to be able to fill up with fuel. And under the time requirements, Jan Bikas, I'm going to tell you, I think some guys, if they're smart, will try to stretch it, and they might be able to go the distance without having to come back onto pit road at all before the checkered flag. What do you think?
I would agree with you, Jack, and I think in that particular case that it is how long do you run around on the wet tires. Sometimes when you see at the top of a dash there a 1.5, that is if you see that number on your fuel calculator, you have got to head for the pits or you won't make it around again. And they'll have those type of telemetry numbers on their wheel to be able to guide them, but typically that call is never made from the cockpit. That type of call is typically always made from pit road. As a driver, Robbie, as you know, they say pit, you pit. That's you got enough to worry about.
Yeah, and when you look at that as a driver, he wants to know one thing that's important. If they lose all contact, he knows if that number comes up lower on the wheel, if we can highlight where that would come up kind of on his information, the wheel, Jan, grab that pencil. But once he sees that number, 150, right in there, exactly, right in that box, he sees that number that's on the nice duct tape up there, he sees that number in here, he's down pit road. If he sees that number and he misses making pit road, he's going to run out of gas out on the track.
By the way, on the center there, see that track map? That's not in case you get lost. That's so that when you talk about turn number 1 and 2 and 3, you want to be sure you and your engineer are on the same page to be sure you're never transposing a corner.
And by the way, Jack, you did a great job, just an outstanding job.
We were just saying during the break that Jack really made a great call on that weather. He was on top of it.
Jack, this is Robbie. You can trust me to be the honest one here. They probably weren't saying anything like that.
Fellas, I appreciate it, but let me go back to what we're talking about. I really think that whoever wins this race is going to be the guy that goes to the dries first. And I know it's going to be a little dicey, but I think that that's going to be the key. But yet you could look at it the other way and say whoever goes to the dries last. And you know, we got to remember one thing. As you guys talked about, that number, that 1.5, that 1.6, this is a 2.5-mile racetrack. The backstretch alone is farther than turns 1, the short chute, turn 2, and the entire backstretch at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. When you get to start-finish, you still have another almost a quarter to a half mile before you can come to pit road. So you better be exactly right on your fuel. It's going to get real interesting, I think.
Working on the area between turns 2 and 3 right now.
But not really any puddled water. Obviously, a little bit of river, but no huge standing water there. And it's amazing that you can even see the dry spots that are shining up there. So once you get cars back underway and we get back racing, the track, the proper racing line is really going to dry quickly, and then it's going to be a gamble to say who wants to come in first for stickers.
There's that long backstretch that Jack was talking about, 9/10 of a mile before the heavy braking area and almost a hairpin turn number 11 leading to the front stretch. Concrete on the left and asphalt on the right.
And it's only going to take a couple laps to really dry that up once they get back to green.
Yep. Sun is out. Things are looking much better. We'll resume the Sao Paulo Indy 300 in a moment from the streets of Sao Paulo on Versus. We have been red for over 30 minutes because of the rain shower. However, the skies have cleared somewhat. The rain has stopped, and we are about to get the command to restart the engines. We're listening for that right now as all the drivers are on pit lane, and there is the command, and so here we go once again. Again, this has become a timed race because of our red flag period. We'll have 43 minutes and 58 seconds when the cars start to roll. That is Anna Beatrice that you saw right there. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Will Power, Mario Franchitti, Scott Dixon, Mike Conway, the top 5. Then Matos, Wilson, Mira, Castroneves, and Viso, Dan Weldon, Anna Beatrice, Ryan Briscoe, Simona Di Silvestro are all on the lead lap. Tony Kanaan is a lap down, so is Danica Patrick and Mario Romancini. Alex Lloyd 4 laps down, and then we have 6 cars that are out of the race.
And that's a great follow-up there, Dion, of showing you what the map's doing on the wheel. And that was a great point to say, hey, is he trying to figure his way around here? No, that's just to make sure he's in sync with his engineer when they're for turns.
Now, what Jack has brought up is the fact is when do you go to the dry tires? And that assessment is going to be made between driver and team manager, strategist, believe it or not, on these pace laps. You'll go around and you'll basically get an assessment, radio back, and the first question they're going to ask you probably after the first couple of turns, can you make it on dries? I mean, can you make it on dries? Can you make it on dries? Because the moment you think you could get around without crashing, you want to take on the dry tires because there's not rain coming. In other words, it's like the stock market. You want to be ahead of the curve. You want to do what's going to happen in the future.
So you're going to guess.
Yeah, right.
But look at how dry it is here. I would have to say somebody's going to make that gamble just after the green flag or one lap.
Why not go before?
You mean right now?
Nothing to say that I can't come in the pits right now. There's no rule against pitting during a parade lap.
Well, let's look at the puddles on this back straightaway and then on the front straightaway and the pit straightaway, and I think that will dictate that.
I think I'm going to keep them on a little bit.
Just, again, the hydroplaning effect that those puddles have when you hit those tires is tough.
Jack Arute is standing by with Michael Andretti, the sole owner of Andretti Autosport.
And as Jan and Robbie were ascertaining, there's been a lot of radio conversation between he and his drivers about when to go to the dry tires. How much input are you putting into all that, Michael?
Well, we got to, the position we're in, we got to do the opposite of the leaders. We hope that they pit now, and then we'll take the green flag, and then because we'll get the wave around, get our lap back, and then we'll pit right when the green. But now it sounds like Ryan may not pit, so that blow that theory.
See, that's what's the problem, just as you guys talked about. Remember that Michael is calling the shots. But remember, Michael's calling the shots, guys, on the 7-Eleven car of Tony Kanaan. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing the IZOD crew, the leader, coming in, and I see some slicks ready to go. I like this call by the IZOD Team 37. Ryan Hunter-Reay, this is a good call. And I don't think he'll have to pit again, guys.
Well, but the only thing is, though, Michael did say that he wasn't going to. So a lot of times you'll put out the slick tires, you'll get everything going, looking like you're going to change. But Michael Andretti is still the owner, and they have each of those timing stands connected on a network. And if he found out that Ryan was not going to pit, and they even baited the boss.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they baited the boss. Oh, no, we're not going to pit. Oh, yes, we are.
Here comes at least 3, although most of the guys are staying out, guys and girls.
Wow. So now,
here comes the leader, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Jack. Others making pit stops also.
Yeah, and now keep in mind the fact that for Ryan Hunter-Reay right now, Michael is also a competitor. A lot of the front cars taking advantage of this. Ryan Briscoe and Will Power have also pulled on the pit road. I think this is the right and smart thing to do, guys.
Jack, I agree with you. I think that is a good move. But for those, just as we said, that somebody gets big crossed up. But for those that have stayed on the rain tires, what they need to do right now is search out water in puddles. They need to keep cooling those Firestone rain tires down because they're even softer yet, and they'll really kind of gum up and just peel off there if they run hard in dry condition. They need the water in the puddles to perform and keep them at the right operating temperature.
Here's the other thing they're banking on. Okay, Tony Kanaan they will not pit until Tony Kanaan gets a wave around. That's what Michael was talking about. Now he is the car right behind the pace car, not the leader, so he'll get his lap back because they'll wave him by. After he's waved around, then they'll pit. Don't ever do it before you waved around or you lose that bonus.
Yeah, great move because he's a lap down. Now he's getting that wave around and they'll pick up Dario.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like Dario Franchitti is going to be the leader with Scott Dixon running second. Mike Conway third and Justin Wilson fourth. So DNR cars third and fourth. Very good.
Pretty happy to see that.
Yeah.
And an owner's happy when it's wet out there and your driver still has rain tires.
It's tough. You know, I want to get excited, but I don't want to put myself in that category because I don't want the big hammer to come on and crush my head. So I'm going to just be quiet.
Well, the thing that we probably should mention is, though, that in all honesty, Dreyer and Reinbold Racing put a lot of money and a lot of effort into improving their race team for this year.
We did. Thank you very much. And you came over and helped us with our announcements at our race shop, and you saw some of those improvements. And Dennis and myself, I mean, you know, we love this game. And, and we want to be here and be competitive today and 10 and 20 years from now.
TK is hoping that he gets
he's staying right in the mirror. He's staying right in the mirror. I just don't want anyone to forget I'm here. I'm right behind you. I'm not actually the leader of the race. That's Dario. So if you see this green car, you can go ahead and wave me by.
Yeah. and the longer they stay out here before it goes green, that advantage is going to the guys that have already come in. That first group that came in and put slicks on, because the longer they stay out there, the more the track's drying up.
But here's the other thing, is that if you put on your slick tires under yellow and you're there at the back, even if the conditions are not good, when people peel off under green to make their stops, you're going to make up a huge advantage. So basically those who are on slick tires are just trying to stay alive, just as Vitor Mira does going across that puddle.
Another update from Jackaroo down on pit lane of Ryan Hunter-Reay.
All right, guys, just how close is it going to be on fuel? You know, now you start to try and work backwards on the time. Ryan Hunter-Reay has been in. He's taken on the fuel. We have got, 38 minutes left to go in this race. They just radioed to Ryan Hunter-Reay, look, you got to make a little fuel here for us. You can't make it like we used to because these Honda engines only have one setting, one for caution, one for green. This one could be really dicey on the final couple of minutes of the race.
Well, Jack, the way you save fuel is by lifting off. I'm going to be lifting off. When I'm going across those puddles, I'll be saving fuel. I'll say, hey, no problem on the saving fuel. I'll lift all over the place.
I mentioned it earlier, but there is no fuel adjustment in the cockpit this year, right?
Correct. Just the right foot.
It's the driver's right foot of just kind of breathing off a little early and rolling through corners, and that's how you're going to save that fuel.
Just like you getting that rental car back to the airport. You know, just easing it in so you don't have to make a fuel stop.
It's never rent-a-car abuse if you get it back there under its own power.
Spoken like a true champion. Here is the green flag, and we are back to competition with almost 37 minutes of racing remaining. Dario, Scott Dixon, Danica Patrick is doing okay, although she's a lap down. She's there in the mix, but she's a lap down in 16.
When are these guys when are they gonna peel off those that are still on the rain tires? When are they gonna start peeling off? And then where they cycle back out, that's the next thing we really want to be looking for.
Oh, Scott Dixon is wanting the lead from his teammate and is not going to be able to get it.
He just wanted to figure out where all those bumps were, so when he really wants to stick that pass there, how much is he gonna launch his car up into the air?
I think they wait for a yellow, Robbie. I think if you're on rain tires, you're thinking somebody's going to hit a puddle and crash, and there's going to be a yellow, then I change. In the meantime, I just stay out.
No, I'm with you on that. But look at how quick it's drying. If I'm on range right now and just kind of seeing what's going on, I'm thinking, make the call, guys. I'm ready.
But you've made the call, so you gotta stick with it. And they gotta hang in there as long as those things will stay on the car.
Those are just little puddles there. You'd back off the gas there? Come on.
Only if they told me to save fuel.
I was trying to throw him down, Bob.
I know, and you failed.
Yeah.
I just shifted a little bit in there.
But it's dry. I mean, if one section that would concern
you with going. Elio.
Elio to the inside of E.J. Fiso.
And he's got good dry pavement to do that. Look at EJ's coming back at you.
There he comes.
But he's got the outside.
There you go.
Take the spot back, but watch Elio again.
No, this is a tough.
Side to side.
Try that.
And look at Di Silvestro back here.
Yeah, that's a tough place to break somebody inside because you're going from the concrete pavement to the black tarmac, and it just that transition is upsetting on the car.
Simona Di Silvestro and Anna Beatrice running together on the racetrack.
Oh,
and Anna's trying to get around.
I think she has a problem.
Yeah,
she pulled off the racing line.
No, she was going to, was that in the pit road?
No.
No?
Anna had to get off the throttle there a little bit.
Yeah, he had a great run off of turn 4 there. Anna had to get out of it there with Simona. Just checked her up, and that's what happens. But just get a rhythm back now.
There's our answer. These people that are on the slicks are having no problem.
Yep.
They're just off to the races. So that was the right call. Just as Jack said, he predicts the weather and the right call on pit road.
That's what I say. If you're on range right now, it's like, guys, I'm ready. I'm ready. And everybody else is watching what these guys are doing on the slicks. They're like, gosh, the longer we stay out now on rain tires, waiting for that yellow to maybe happen, we're getting hammered. We got to do it.
You can see they're close because Anna Beatrice, I believe, is still on rain tires, correct? Well,
I can't give you 100% on that. And it's really too hard for us to ID that as they're rolling through to figure that out.
Rafa Matos there in the 2 car, getting around Anna Beatrice, coming off the turn, number 11.
Let's see if she looks for pit lane. That's the yellow and blue car we're talking about, Anna Beatrice. Yeah, she's still on reins there, it looked like. So she should be staying to the right now and probably coming down pit road. Yep, there she goes.
So that was my point. Thankfully, that worked out okay. But the point was they were running about the same speed. And now as it dries, obviously, the dry tires will be a big advantage. Yeah. But at that point, they were pretty equal on lap time.
That's going to do a big flip-flop right now. That's happening in terms of speeds.
EJ Viso running in 5th spot there for KB Racing Technology in the number 8 car. Danica Patrick again is a lap down. 16th.
Had that spin that we documented into turn number 1 and knocked the nose askew. Got a new one.
Elio trying to find the opportunity to get around Viso.
So what you're trying to do while we watch this, well, we'll stay with this to see. This is the place, Robbie, you said it would be tough.
It's a tough pass right there.
Oh, look at this. Ryan Hunter-Reay takes the position.
Got it.
In the first turn. Wow,
that's good. But that comes back to confidence. He is so confident with that race car because that is a challenging, high percentage pass to pull off there.
Yep.
What you don't want to forget, as you see Castro Neves come in, is that while you see Ryan Hunter-Reay trying to weave through traffic, you have the leaders up on rain tires with no traffic ahead of them, making distance on him.
Elio Castro Neves hits pit lane. He's headed toward you, Jack.
And the most important thing that Castro Neves wants, as does Scott Dixon right now, they desperately want to get those rain tires off. The crew goes to work, and that's precisely what they're going to do. They're going to put the slicks back on and send them out and away.
Now be careful, Elio, as well as other, because the exit right here, this right here is where you can really get in trouble.
Justin Wilson goes through the big puddle, and so does Elio.
So just like eggshells, like you got an egg between your foot and the gas pedal. That's what you got to do, getting through that puddle coming off pit road.
And just to mention another rule change from last year, since we saw the pit stop and Elio taking on a little bit of fuel, as Ryan Hunter-Reay now tries to get to the inside of Danica Patrick.
He got it. He got it.
Yeah.
Power's got a spot.
You can't. The car cannot roll as long as the fuel refueler is in the car, right? 3 wide down the front stretch.
Oh, look out. It's going to stack up. It's going to stack up like you said. There's a stack. Oh, easy. That's Briscoe. We're saying easy, too, there in the Penske car. Vitor Mira, the ABC car for Floyd chasing him. Man.
Mario Romancini at the back of that line of cars.
It even looks like Miro's close enough there to pop out on Briscoe.
Dario hits pit lane.
Which should put Ryan Hunter-Reay in the lead. Because he went for the tires earlier. Jack?
And again, Dario Franchitti also going, and he's choosing the reds. He's going to go on for the stickier tire. A good call on that part, because I don't think you're going to have to worry this being a timed race, and that's going to be his last stop.
No, but let's check out his position, though. We just saw that was Conway. So Conway is listed as 10th.
Yeah,
so
maybe 11th.
Yeah, 11th.
Yeah, because there goes Justin in 12th.
Now, Franchitti's going to have no fuel issues whatsoever. He can run as hard. That's a no-brainer right there. Wow.
Look at
Ryan Hunter-Reay is thinking, I'm glad I'm not in the middle of this. This is the battle. Some of these cars are in the battle for second.
Yep. Look at this. Man.
Rafael Matos is in a fight here for second place with Penske cars right behind him.
Yeah, and that's right where that Briscoe, now he's coming right back to that area before we said there's a big stack. We said, be careful.
Oh,
Vitor, slow down.
Mira's going to miss the corner.
Excuse me, playing through.
Now, if he doesn't advance a position, he's okay.
He's got to go back behind Danica, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Sorry.
We'll see where that sorts itself out.
If he doesn't go back far enough, though. Oh, there, he just waved him by.
Yep.
But we saw him coming in there with the head of Steve, didn't we? Like, big blinking light going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Sort yourself back in. He'll be okay. But now he's holding off. Oh, he got 10 from behind.
Wow.
We're looking out of the back of Weldon's car, and that is Mira we're looking at, and he got hit from behind the car behind Mira.
Romancini. He either stepped out or there was some, oh, look out.
No, that was a little, I think I see a little nose contact on Romancini's car there. Yeah. Look at how tight, it's like a train.
No kidding. This is good stuff.
All these guys chasing Danica right here are all on reds. Firestone reds.
Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So that was looking back out of Weld's car, and just that you could see Vitor's car, the way it got lifted up, that wasn't just rear brake lock up, that was getting poked at.
Now they're all fired up. They're all fired up. Okay, we're going to do a double pass here.
Mira to the inside of Weldon. But Romancini also to the inside.
This shows you how hooked up Mira is, and he's getting after it. You know, he tried to pass these guys one lap ago at this point, shuffled all the way back.
Oh, that's a move for second.
By him.
That's Briscoe going into second.
Yep.
Just got by Matos.
Matos back to third. Fourth is Will Power.
You never say die. Whatever happens in the first couple laps of a race, you drive as hard as you can through the whole thing, because you never know what's going to happen and where you're going to cycle back to.
Second, third, and fourth running very close on the racetrack, Jack, as we're within 26 minutes of the finish.
And the best way, by my strategy and what I'm looking at and working it out, guys, I think that's going to be about 60 to 61 laps. That could be okay for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Right now, they're still trying to get Ryan Hunter-Reay to make a little fuel. They're doing the same thing I'm doing, trying to figure out just how many laps it's going to be. Forget about the time for a time being. 60 to 61, I think, is the magic number.
And you can see why Danica was really struggling to keep those guys behind her.
Oh, now the left rear.
Yeah, problem there at the left rear.
But she was out there running with those rain tires, and everybody else had already gone to the Firestone slicks, and she was just holding on as best she could.
Here's this second, third, and fourth battle now. That's Will Power. That's Ryan Briscoe with Will Power right behind Rafa Matos.
And that, as you see, Briscoe, of course, Roger Penske makes his call.
Yep.
Right behind, you've got Rafael Matos. Jay Penske, his son, makes those calls. So that's a bit of a father-son battle there between two teams.
And Gilles de Ferran, that's standing next to Jay Penske on the stand for Rafa Matos, used to drive for Roger Penske.
And he could talk to Rafa in Portuguese. for secret communications. He did say that he is the Portuguese person that calms the tempers. Very similar to what you talked about with Mike Hull.
Look at the movement in the cars now that we're just back to some good. Look at that rear wing, how high it gets up into the air after it just hits that undulation.
Jack has an update on Dario Franchitti, who's back to 9th. Jack.
And here's the magic number, Bob, for Dario Franchitti. They just told him that he needs to get 3.1 miles a gallon, or he's not going to have enough fuel to finish the race. That's going to be a little difficult here on this racetrack, I'm afraid.
Jack, I think he'll be okay at 3.1 because they were forecasting that 3.2 would be a fairly reasonable race number. So I think that's a case of reminding him, in qualifying, certainly you'd be well below 3.1. But that's, I believe, still okay for Dario.
Just about 24 minutes to go. Ryan Hunter-Reay leads Ryan Briscoe, Rafa Matos, Will Power, and Vitor Meira in the Sao Paulo Indy 300.
Sao Paulo Indy 300 on Versus is brought to you by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by Apex Brazil. To learn how Brazilian goods and services can work for you, log on to experienceourenergy.com.
Excitement, that's peak performance. And it's electric.
With the Peak Jump Starter, you don't need another car to jump your dead battery. Just hook it up and start it up, and you're on your way. And the Peak Jump Starter has a low charge alert system and alarm sounds when your jump starter needs recharging. Get a Peak Jump Starter, so you'll always have the protection of power when you need it.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
Cargo Incognito. Introducing the Accord Cross Tour from Honda.
Welcome to Brazil. Food and wine. Furniture. Jewelry. Technology. Biofuels.
I'm Tony Kanaan. Experience the energy of my Brazil.
In theaters April 2nd.
Mario Romancini has had contact with the wall. You can see the rear of the car not tracking right. We'll see what happened. He was right up there in the thick of things, but oh.
Yeah, that's coming onto the back straightaway, turn 10, and you can see he was already high going through there, and you get into all the little tire marbles there, you're sliding.
And he's going to get it back.
Yep. He's got to make it. That's turn 3. He's got to make it through 3 and 4 before he gets to pit lane. There's turn 4, and he is going to make it, so there will be no full course caution. Jack, so what does that mean? Does Ryan Hunter-Reay still have to make a little bit of fuel here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Bob. In fact, he had hoped that a full course yellow would come. His crew just told him he's going to have to give up the lead. And Jan, I'll tell you, everybody's talking about needing to get 3.1 miles to the gallon, and nobody thinks they have enough on board to be able to do that. So everybody's now being a little more dicey. And remember, we don't have the adjustment, so as you guys said, the only way you can make fuel is to lift, and that's what they've told Ryan Hunter-Reay to do, even if it means losing the lead.
How difficult is that to do if you're a race driver?
Well, having to lift to save fuel with Briscoe chasing him, it definitely changes your concentration and your routine. So it also can bring on the scenario of making mistakes when you're trying to think about that.
But remember that Ryan Hunter-Reay and Ryan Briscoe pitted on the same lap. So they should be in exactly the same fuel predicament. So it's not like you've got a Ryan Briscoe that pitted 5 laps later. You've got people who started with the same level of fuel.
And what I would do if I was Hunter-Reay, I'd let Briscoe go by and just stay behind him, try and and just save your fuel. Because let him set the pace. Let him set your pace, and then set him up with 2 laps to go.
You agree, Jan?
No,
I don't either.
You never let anybody go by you when you're in the lead.
But why not let him set his pace? If this guy who we're looking at right here is so strong, don't let Briscoe push it. Get behind him, and you just play with him and let him pace it, and you try and save fuel. And then when you have to get after it with 2 laps to go, if he really needs to save fuel,
then you let him go by. Somebody makes a mistake, you have a caution, and you're toast.
Yeah, you're true. I was getting consumed with the whole idea of green. I mean, he's playing for yellow.
All right, Jack, that's how we feel. How about you?
Well, I got to tell you guys, you got to remember how long that back straightaway is. We talk about it. It's turn 1, the short chute, turn 2, and the back stretch at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. As bumpy as it is, you can get a little bit of a draft. In a draft, who gets better fuel mileage, the guy in front or the guy behind? I kind of like the idea, maybe let Briscoe get ahead of me, and maybe that's a way for me to save some fuel. That's a long way going straight, fellas.
Oh, I know, but
Jack's a good friend, isn't he? He's a good friend of mine. It's interesting.
To give up the lead with the race less than 18 minutes to finish, and it may happen right here.
Yeah, but we saw how confident Hunter-Reay is. I mean, I think Ryan could get him back.
Well, we'll see, because Ryan Briscoe has taken the lead.
Interesting twist here. We saw Will Power.
Oh, here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay back in turn 1.
Oh!
And he forced Ryan to...
Oh, but he shortcut.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Now they both shortcut, but he made a pass and shortcut. What happened was Briscoe went to the inside of the curb. Yep. He didn't do a full shortcut, but he went to the inside of the curb. So does race control let this go? Or when you make a pass and then you shortcut, is that considered a foul?
I think it's a foul. Because he did leave the course. Not in a big way of going around the tire barrier, but he went around the curbing. So if there was a wall...
Yeah. So in that case, race control may make him give the lead to Briscoe here, whether he wants to or not. Which would be, if you try to pass somebody and then you shortcut, yes, that should be a penalty.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I got it. I don't know, do I?
And there's the shortcut right there. He went through
they both shortcut.
Yeah. Maybe since they both shortcut, it nullifies it.
Well, no, the thing is, though, Briscoe would not have shortcut unless he was forced there.
Yeah, he was.
So he made the move, got to the inside of the curb. Now,
so warned him or said you have to switch it back?
We've been told from race control that they've warned
Meanwhile, Briscoe takes the lead again. Will Power looking for second.
So that was self-correcting.
Well, yeah, but...
But I want to get back to the warning doesn't mean switch back.
The warning just means, hey, watch it there.
Yeah, tap you on the wrist.
Yeah, that's like if you get pulled over and you get a warning. That's a win.
Yeah.
Briscoe with 5 overtakes left.
So after all that discussion, Briscoe's out in front of Hunter-Reay.
And then Hunter-Reay will say, well, I decided that I'd let him go by because I want to save some fuel.
Guys, there's a method.
Should Andretti Autosport win, and really its first time out, as far as series victories is concerned, they would tie Team Penske. From the finish.
See, I like the idea of being Hunter-Reay right now, and he paces himself off of Briscoe, and he doesn't have to worry about Briscoe being behind him. I guess he's got to worry about Power being behind him, but he doesn't have to be worried about setting the pace. He's just going to save fuel right now. This is where Jack was saying, this long back straightaway. Hunter-Reay can get up behind Briscoe and maybe just feather back on the throttle a little bit and conserve some fuel.
He looks to the inside again.
Now see his job. Oh! His job is to push Briscoe, A, because he wants him to make a mistake, B, because he wants him to use more fuel, and in the meantime, maybe I'll slide through in the lead. This is good stuff.
You know, at the top of the show, we said the one thing that these drivers loved about this circuit is these long straightaways. So Tony Kottman, what a great job he did in laying this out. Because the driver said, we really like that opportunity to pass. Well, when have we seen this kind of opportunity to pass fairly and not force the hand of something to really make it a fair pass versus saying, okay, I'm either going to take him out and me out, or I'm going to make the pass and get penalized. This creates great, fair, hard wheel-to-wheel racing.
Ryan's locking him up there at times. Yeah, from the very first time I saw the layout of this course, I thought, wow, that's going to be good because you've got these technical sections, but you've also got two very long straightaways that will allow passing.
Well, it's also worth saying as we look at that battle for first and how tight that is that Tony Kottman originally, the design was to put a chicane in the middle of this long straightaway. He talked to the drivers, and the drivers said, you know what? In Australia, when we were there, those straightaways were just a little too short, and then we hit a chicane. So he said, fine. If you guys want to have the longest straightaway in IndyCar history, great, we'll take it out. Good call.
And that's what's producing this race.
Ah, here we go.
Nice. See, now what he's doing right now, he's studying. He's going to town on Briscoe because I'm going to lay back there, I'm going to save fuel, and I'm going to figure out what I need to set up to make that pass. And that's what Jack has always been saying is, when do you want to be leading? You know, those are the questions he's asked. Do you want to be leading on that last lap or not?
Jack, we got a great battle going on here for the top three spots.
Yeah, Bob, and we also have a great challenge to face us. As I show you the weather radar, see all this red? Right here is Sao Paulo and the race course. We are sitting atop a ticking time bomb. It's going to rain again.
Throws the fuel issue out.
Yeah.
Wow, Briscoe's wide. Oh, he's in the tires.
Briscoe missed the corner.
That's why you want that.
Ryan Hunter-Reay has the lead, and now he has enough fuel, because that's going to be a full course caution. That's why you push somebody from behind. Poor Ryan Briscoe.
So does that mean that you like the idea of Ryan Hunter-Reay getting behind Briscoe?
That was a brilliant stroke of strategy, Robbie.
And Jack.
Quit bragging, Buell.
No, but how exciting is this street course racing to kick off the year
he
here
kept pushing him, He started locking up brakes, and
man,
Ryan's got to be thinking, I can't believe it.
And that is into turn 5. That's the other good passing zone there.
Hang on a minute. The Ganassi team's back in it, folks, because they were back there struggling. Now all of a sudden they're back in the game.
Right. There's Ryan just missing the corner. See ya.
Just missed his braking point just a little bit. Got in too deep. I'm not going to slow it down.
Man.
Shazam, Ryan Hunter-Reay says.
And there is the reaction from Team Penske. Well, he's got a banged up front nose, but we'll get growing again as the Holmatro safety team gets him started again. Ryan Hunter-Reay, can he hold on for the next 11 minutes and win this race? Power is second, Rafael Matos is third, Mira fourth, and Dan Weldon running in fifth position. And now the field will close up, so we're going to have some very, very interesting racing when they go green once again, and it shouldn't be very long. Once Ryan Briscoe is restarted, we should get the green flag once again. What a way to start the season, huh?
And a perfect opportunity now, you know, for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Will Power, catch their breath. Remember, we saw how hard Hunter-Reay was working when he got out of the car. Then Jack went over and talked to Will Power. We saw how his hands were getting beat up. Well, I can tell you, no matter how tired how tired Ryan Hunter-Reay looked or how beat up the hands of Will Power were. Right now, adrenaline takes over. They're not thinking about any of that once we go back to green racing.
You don't feel the sore fingers or the sore palms.
Once the checkered comes out and he parks that thing back in pit road, you bet he's going to be able to put.
Wow, now look at all these other cars in the mix now.
Yeah.
They're all within striking distance. There'll only be a few laps left. Just depends on how long. It looked like that would be a quick cleanup. When they turn them loose, you'll have a Ryan Hunter-Reay who doesn't have to worry about fuel, who has a clear road ahead of him, with a Will Power, highly motivated, and Rafael Matos right there going for him.
And you got Matos in third, as you just said, followed by Vitor Meira, the two Brazilian drivers. So they're the ones that are fighting for top honors now. So we want to keep an eye on that.
But also on the lead lap, Scott Dixon, Mike Conway, Franchitti, Wilson, Elio, and E.J. Viso. Anna Beatrice and Tony Kanaan both are also on the lead lap. So there are 13 cars on the lead lap, and Ryan Briscoe has made it back to his pit stall. So we're going to be under caution for a few more minutes. We will take this break and be right back with more of the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Stay with us. On IndyCar nonstop, the pace car pull off the racetrack. We are getting set for a resumption of this event. And Ryan Hunter-Reay is the leader of the race with Will Power running in second spot. Matos, Meira, and Weldon are the top five. And here they come for the restart. And Ryan Hunter-Reay gets a pretty good jump on the rest of the field.
That was a fantastic drive from him off of turn number 11. Rafael Matos couldn't seem to get the power down. A nice gap there, giving a little breathing room for Will Power in second.
6 minutes to go.
Oh, he rubbed the wall.
Whoa.
That was Meira.
Dan Weldon, we're on board with him. Will he try to get to the inside of Vitor?
Well, he's got to think about it because he saw just what happened. The same thing we did with Meira brushing that wall.
Oh, he is just all over Vitor.
And Dixon's closing in from behind Weldon.
So up front with Hunter-Reay and Power, now that there's no fuel conserving for Hunter-Reay, can he gap Power and it not even be a contest?
Well, that's right. Ryan Briscoe was under pressure from Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now is Ryan Hunter-Reay going to be under pressure from Will Power?
I think this is the group you want to watch right here.
But he was saving fuel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you're right. This is
the group where overtake assist is going to be pow, pow, pow. I see all kinds of green lights going up on the scoring monitor. That is overtake assist. Give me everything I got going down into turn 11.
On board with Dario.
So let's see how much he can close on that car in front of him.
Oh, that's for third. Meira takes the spot.
Vitor Meira driving for AJ Foyt Racing is up to third.
There. A little extra for the home crowd, huh?
And that's the Brazilian leader in the clubhouse right now.
That's a big deal.
Well, he had a lot of time to think about it since last year's Indianapolis 500, getting back in the cockpit, becoming competitive, and he certainly is here in the first race.
You know, and I think part of the confidence from Vitor, his engineer now is Jeff Britton, the same engineer he was with in 05 when he had a very stout year, finished second at the Speedway. So don't underestimate the value of that relationship of engineer and driver and confidence.
Rafa Matos, car number 2, behind Vitor, has been warned for blocking. Only a warning at this point.
That's because there's no blocking allowed. If you make a move to keep someone behind you like they felt it may have done for Vitor Meira, that's a no-no.
But when it's in your home country, don't you give a little free pass? That's like you got one in your pocket. I can use that because this is my home country.
Like I said, a warning is still a win.
Dan Weldon with a good ride for Panther Racing is in 5th.
You can see right there, you just saw Matos as they went on to the back straightaway. He just tilted his head
this is for the lead. This is for the lead, folks.
Oh, Will Power will look to the inside of Hunter-Reay and try to get the lead, and he will. But now let's watch Ryan try to come back. No, couldn't do it. Will Power takes the lead.
But that plays right into the question that Jack asked. Where do you want to be going into that last lap? Because that was a perfect slipstream pass that Power pulled off. as you go into turn 11.
I want to be in the lead. I'm not going to change my strategy. I want to be in the lead, baby.
A little more than 3 minutes to go. So probably one more lap after this one.
So what Hunter Ray wants to do is stay close enough here to Power to set him up and see if he could do the same thing back to him as they go to turn 10. Excuse me, to turn 11 from 10. He wants to be close enough to figure out, okay, can I do that back to him and get it done? And if so, wait till you see the white flag and then make the move.
Both Target Chip Ganassi cars are running together on the racetrack. They are in 6th and 7th.
Conway all over the back of Franchitti, like that.
This group right here just looks like something's gonna pop.
Wow, that's a pretty easy over/under on that.
Monho's trying to hold off Dan Weldon, the National Guard car. Good run for Mike Conway today. And Dixon. Now here is Dixon trying to get the position from Weldon.
And he wasn't close enough. He was just popping out to really tease him. He wasn't close enough to make that a good clean pass, but obviously just wants to make Weldon know that I'm coming.
Only 2 races last year did not have at least one Ganassi car in the top 5. The Indianapolis 500 when they finished 6th and 7th, and Kentucky where they also finished 6th and 7th. Right now, as I said, 6th and 7th here at Sao Paulo.
We talk about Vitor Mira. He was not on a road course until the Barber test, which was a couple weeks prior to this event.
Franchitti!
Locking him up.
He was like, oh, I can't stop it. If I don't, I'm going to hit Dixon.
Yeah, not a good scenario. But how about that for Vitor? I mean, he hasn't been in a road course until 2 weeks ago at Barber after that incident that he showed that he had at the Speedway. Pretty remarkable effort and resiliency and just of these drivers of how bad they want to be back at doing their job that they love. Do something.
If anyone. The white flag will come out this time by. There's a white flag.
And that's Hunter Ray.
There's the leader, Will Power. And he has pulled out a comfortable lead on Ryan Hunter-Ray.
Yep, Hunter-Ray, he can't get that done now.
So, Robbie, what you're saying, this is the comeback story. You got Will Power, who's coming back from that back injury. You just started talking about Vitor Mira, who's going to hopefully hit the podium here running in 3rd. Wow, what a great way for these guys to come back and have great runs.
It's incredible. It just shows you mentally what these athletes are all about to go through the type of accidents they had and can't come back and not be competitive, be on the podium, in a position to be there, win the race.
Will Power just turned in the fastest lap of the race.
And he's on Firestone Blacks, guys.
Yep.
He's not even on the softer red compounds. That's flexing your muscle.
What an incredibly competitive and fun race this has been. Not so for those involved in that first turn incident, but boy, we have seen some great races. A good start to the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series. To Will Power and the entire Team Penske crew, we say, Ben Fetio, well done. They have thrown down the early gauntlet as the team to beat in 2010 by winning the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Will Power wins over Ryan Hunter-Ray and Vitor Mira.
It's still not done back there, but that was all a lot cleaner than we thought it was going to be, fighting back there for the 3rd spot.
Wow. How about Will Power, huh?
Fantastic.
Man.
After a horrific accident, broken back, gets a full season's ride, comes back, wins the first race of the year, and Vitor Meira for the Brazilian fans.
Right.
A horrific accident at Indy, as we showed, comes back, hasn't driven on a road course, as you said, Robbie, since a couple weeks, driving for AJ Foyt. That was awesome.
Yeah, he didn't do any other testing for Foyt other than just the Barber Motorsport track. So it really is a great story. But for Power, you know, that shows, you know, the reason he's a third car at Penske in this Verizon Team Penske car is because they saw talent in this guy, and he deserved the opportunity, and they made that work. And you can say they know how to pick them.
Two of the top 5 finishers are from Brazil. Vitor Meira finishes third, and Rafael Matos a 4th place finish. For Will Power, it's his 2nd win in the IZOD IndyCar Series. He won at Edmonton last year, and it's his 5th career open wheel win. And for Team Penske, number 36 as an owner. Little debris on the track there.
So got a little driver headrest. Somebody threw out there.
Looking for a yellow.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Wow, that was fun.
So Power could really entrench himself here with the Brazilian fans. If he grabbed a Brazilian flag right now and started waving that, wow.
Here is the way that Will Power got the lead from Ryan.
Just a slipstream down that back straightaway. Very fair. Look at Hunter Ray, who's like, I don't want to give it up. I'm trying to brake to get in there. But he's like, Power's alongside me. I can't turn in until he gets
out of the way.
Yep.
And we've talked so much about Power and also Vitor Meira, but boy, hats off to Ryan Hunter-Reay. Hits his debut for Andretti Autosport. That was nice.
It's also the best career finish for Rafael Matos, who came home 4th, bettering his best of 6th at Milwaukee. Back in a moment.